Round 5 of the AFL season begins with a perennial contender, a hardened high achiever facing a side desperate to establish its own premiership brand. Tonight is the emerging versus the established, St Kilda and Richmond on Grandstand AFL. Hello, Alistair Nicholson with you under the roof at Docklands for this enticing Round 5 clash. There are 2 late changes though for St Kilda. Not good news. It was forecast to a point during the week that neither Zach Jones or Rowan Marshall would come up due to the light duties they were on during the week, and that has been the case. Dunstan and Hunter come into the St Kilda lineup. The Saints about to make their way out onto the ground. The Tigers out there at the moment. The sub for St Kilda, Ben Long. No late change for Richmond. The sub for the Tigers is Jack Ross. Kelly Underwood's going to call the action with me tonight.
Good evening, Alistair Nicholson. Took 5 rounds before mentally I headed back to footy before COVID. There was horrendous traffic out there. It's not moving for an hour. Fans are annoyed. I got a rude gesture by fans rushing in. So where's the no fans where you could just pull up at the MCG and walk, just have a short stroll into the MCG gate?
Someone gave Kelly Underwood a rude gesture.
No, look,
you need a bodyguard.
I'm joking. This has got a serious vibe about it, hasn't it? Because there is a log jam on the concourse, people by foot, and an even bigger log jam in the traffic out surrounding this magnificent stadium. So this is genuine footy. We're almost back to life as we knew it, Alistair, particularly when it comes to sport and footy. And the AFL tells us this afternoon that they're bringing the banners back. Yes. So Saturday afternoon in that women's grand final at Adelaide Oval, both teams will run through the banners and then they'll be back for round 6 in the men's competition. So life's slowly getting back to normal. I love it, even though I did have to sit in a traffic jam and I did get a rude gesture. I'm up for this one.
And the banners are back. I remember if I got to the footy when I was a kid, after the banners had gone up and the song and the team had run out on the ground, I would be filthy. Absolutely filthy. Mick Malthouse, good evening to you. Welcome.
Thanks, Kel, and Lingy, and all the listeners.
Wasn't you crossing the road that gave me the rude gesture, was it?
If it wasn't, I would be very dark on that bloke.
So it wasn't you?
It certainly wasn't me, Kel.
Good, just checking.
I know too well. You're sitting in front of me, and I know that...
a few years ago when I was asking you questions, I reckon you would have given me one.
I was saving up then. What a game. We're looking at 2 teams that have... Well, you wouldn't have expected to say here tonight and say Richmond have lost the last 2 games, nor that St Kilda got an absolute smashing from Essendon and we're 33 points down at the halfway mark of the 3rd quarter and win the game. So we've got a contest. The real shame of it is, for me, though, is that Marshall is out. I still rate him as one of the best ruckmen in the competition because ruck work's not only about tap, it's about aggression, it's about goal kick, it's about setting up your teammates. Zach Jones, indifferent. He's got pace, but doesn't ably use the ball that well. So I think they'll miss him, but they won't miss him as much. But the Tigers are interesting because have sides worked them out? I don't think so. This time last year, I think we were still saying that Richmond are a good side, but they just keep coming at you. And I guess the thing is that I think it was a week ago that they deemed as the eldest side in the competition for a number of years. And I guess that's the thing. Have they tasted success, and now does it mean that it becomes automatic and they don't do the work? Because I've played in sides like that and finished outside the 4 with a very good football side. Or is it against the St Kilda who have got that hunger? So they're the things I'll be looking for tonight, Lingy.
Cameron Ling is with us. Only gestures from the Mayor of Geelong, waves to his constituents, helping old ladies across the road. Good to see you, Lingy.
Of course, Al. Thank you. Good to be here, and good evening to everybody out there. Yeah, this will be a ripping game of football. I thought St Kilda's... Well, the St Kilda looked cooked last week against West Coast, and their season was quickly sliding down the toilet, and they reversed it very quickly, and well done to them, and sets up a fascinating clash. Al, it also leads into tomorrow night's game, which will be a brilliant game of football. So Thursday night, Friday night, 2 fascinating games of footy. Plenty going on at the Collingwood Football Club at the moment. West Coast will be disappointed with their loss to the Saints last week, given the position they were in. So Thursday night and Friday night should produce some beauties for us.
Well, Collingwood went to Perth, seemed like everything was against them last year in that final, and pulled off one of their great victories at the Magpies. They seem to be in a real rut at the moment. Mick Malthouse, you're a premiership coach at the Collingwood Football Club. Can they turn it around? And if so, what do they need to do?
I think it's dangerous to write any side off, particularly what we've seen. There wouldn't be one person in this ground, or certainly in this box that I know, that would have picked Adelaide first game against Geelong. So we look at that. Half-time last week, you wouldn't have picked St Kilda because of the thrashing they had before, so their confidence is down. I looked at I went to the game last week at Collingwood and Grandstand, Sydney, and I just thought that Collingwood had enough momentum to win the game. The game was one of the worst games you've ever seen in the first half. It was kick a rosy and then lose it before you kick inside 50, and then the Giants would do the same. So it only really started to pick up in the third quarter. But I look at this and think, why do we keep chasing, and why do we keep chasing coaches out of the game? Because that's what we're after. You know, there's the scent of blood from the media. You know, Buckley. And if it hadn't been him, it would have been Leon Cameron this week. But I'll say this to you, and I said this building up there. It was the captain of Footscray, or the Western Bulldogs, that slotted that goal late that won the game against them in the first game. They got beaten by a kick after the siren against Brisbane. So there's two potential wins. Last week was horrible, but it happens. So there's 3 out of 4, and we're not even talking about it. Yes, 1 in 3 tells you it's not, and yet no, it's not the team's fault that they haven't chose a president. It's not the team's fault that the president, up until when it was January or February, whenever it was president, and then is not president. So things change. I heard Nathan Buckley say that has a little impact on the ground. I say this, and I've said it constantly. To win a premiership, it is a club premiership. If you haven't got a good, solid committee steering the putting it out there where you want to go, and the administration running it, and the players and coaches being well supported, since 2000 at least, no side has won a premiership unless they've had that solid stuff behind them.
Well, at the moment, you've got Mark Corder and Peter Murphy.
That's right.
Sharing the role of president. Does that reflect the stable environment that would be required, or do you think that Collingwood needs to hurry up and appoint someone singularly in that role? And I know Jeff Brown has been spoken about, John Bertrand's been spoken about.
Well, I hear all the names. I don't see that having a great bearing on the players. Having said what I just said, I don't think that is going to be... The players don't run the race going, we haven't got a president yet. We've got 2 interim presidents, both nice people, both very competent. So maybe either one of them will get the job. I don't think that's going to be the bearing. The bearing is, how do they feel? Do they feel comfortable in their skin? Do they feel comfortable with the game plan? Do they feel comfortable with their teammates around them? I look, and I might be right off here, but I watch Collingwood pretty closely. To me, Scott Pendlebury's been one of the great players, probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest player that Collingwood produced. He is 6 or 7% off last year. He's another 6 or 7% off this year. He's 33. He's taken a battering. His pace he was never quick. It's slowed marginally. His delivery, well, if we looked at 100%, it's now down about 85, 90. Same with Sidebottom. Sidebottom's not as dynamic as what he was. There's their 2 key players to win the ball around the ground and set play up. Not happening. De Goey's been disappointing because he's just not. He hasn't produced, the goods that they expected of him. Grundy, I feel sorry for Grundy. Grundy's a player that he didn't put the figures in front of him. He signed a figure that everyone goes, he's an $8 million man, but he's not. Okay, he might be producing that with the rucks, but he's not getting a lot of assistance at ground level now.
We spoke to Amit Baines, the CEO of the Western Bulldogs, on the lead on ABC Grandstand AFL on the weekend, and he told us that the Western Bulldogs were not in the habit and didn't really endorse those big long-term deals, like a 7-year deal that Grundy's under. Was that a mistake by Collingwood to offer a 7-year deal?
I think 7 years is too long, personally, because too much can happen, and the game shifts and injuries happen. I was critical initially of the Buddy Franklin one. I said at the time I thought that was the most ridiculous one I've seen, and I reckon I'm proven right there, because he missed all last year and he's missed a bit of this year. He's going to have the occasional good game, but we're looking at 4 or 5 of those years that are unproductive, and I say about 7 years for a player that's 24, 25, so he's going to go into his 30s. Ruckman can last, but they also can get injured.
We're about to go on Grandstand AFL Thursday night football under the roof at Docklands, round 5 of the competition. Great game coming up, we hope, tonight between the Saints and the Tigers. Let's direct our attention to it. Cameron Ling promises a fair bit. The Saints, how much confidence did they get from last week when they steamrolled West Coast in the end from a position of hopelessness?
Well, you can only imagine and hope as a Saints supporter that they understand the way they play best, and it's clicked to them a little bit within that game because they weren't leading up to that. The way they got belted against the Bombers, they played some dreadful football. They surely, as a group, realise that they have to have frenetic pressure, that they have to hunt and chase and scrap and tackle and do everything they possibly can, and then play with some electric speed and move the ball quick and get it in there and give their forwards an opportunity. That hopefully is what the Saints realise their best formula is, and that's the way they take on Richmond and potentially can beat Richmond. The Tigers, on the other hand, though, they'll be so grumpy having lost to Port Adelaide. 2 losses in a row. They were terrific last week against the Power. I just think a wounded champion who's a little bit grumpy, a little bit edgy, look out. Just be a little bit fearful of the reigning champs and the way that they'll unleash into this game. So as good as the Saints' confidence might be, they're playing against the champs, and the champs are the best for a reason. So look out. I reckon they'll go after them, and they'll be really hungry for this one.
So the established order, Richmond up against an emerging side in season 2021 on Grandstand AFL. It is the Saints and Tigers under the roof at Docklands. As we welcome our listeners through Western Australia for the first time tonight, have been 2 late changes for St Kilda. The Saints and Tigers 2-2 to start the new season. Zach Jones and Rowan Marshall both out of the lineup for the Saints tonight. Dunstan and Hunter are in. Ben Long is the medical sub for the Saints. No late change for Richmond. Jack Ross is the medical sub. And of course tonight, Matty Riewold's vision. It's Matty's match. Matty Riewold's vision. The late Matty Riewoldt, sister of Nick, aiming to raise funds to fight like Matty and find new treatments for bone marrow failure. So the purple socks are on. The players are making their way to their positions. And the final member of our team on Grandstand AFL, accompanying Alistair Nicholson, Kelly Underwood, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling, is Tim Hodges down on the boundary. Tim.
Hello, Al. Hello, guys. Nice to be with you. And it's a fantastic crowd building. Kelly was right. Getting into this stadium is difficult. I think the early start, the 7:20 start, has caught a lot out. Thousands still coming in, but they're up in the back row of the top deck. So I think 30,000 plus. It's going to be a great crowd for hopefully a great game of footy.
So the Tigers, the heavyweights, an emerging challenger. Here's Kelly Underwood on Grandstand AFL.
Hunter the late inclusion, but it's Nankervis that taps it down and read beautifully by Edwards. Gives it off to Martin. He's getting involved already. His kicks to Riewoldt over his head. Wilkie's got the match up, it looks like. Tried to trap that and then bury it out. He'll get pinged for a throw here. It'll be a free kick. In fact, it was a throw for the Tigers. So a free kick for Wilkie. Former tax accountant from South Australia who gets the match up against Jack Riewoldt tonight. So the Saints use it slowly and the kick goes wide out to Howard. Back to the same spot, but this time taking the mark is Clark. Back to Wilkie. This is all in the defensive 50 at the Lockett end, the northern end of the stadium. Great crowding for this one there. Sprawled across even the top tier here tonight. As St Kilda, short, steady, working the angles with their kicks, bring it into Crouch. That kick came from Webster. Webster keeps running and he wants it back. There's not a lot of movement out there. Defensive side of the broadcast wing, the dock side wing. Crouch goes long. Carlisle's down there. Looks like he might have started forward. There's a good tackle applied on a Tigers player. Carlisle, but now through Cochin for the Tigers. He weaves across to Hawley, dashing out of that defensive, and a little grubber kick goes towards Riewoldt.
Riewoldt, great pick up, and he bounced off his opponent. A hand pass away to Cochin. Sweeping ball into the middle of Edwards. The Tigers on the charge. Mansell receives a hand pass. The second gamer goes towards Lynch. Up goes Howard, can't spoil. Lynch roves, hand pass to Graham, through the traffic and through the major opening for the first. Graham goals from 20 out in the right forward pockets. 2 minutes in, the Tigers one straight. St Kilda yet to score.
Now I know you're not supposed to jump to conclusions 2 minutes into a game of football, but everything I suspected about a hungry Richmond just looks like it. They defended beautifully when St Kilda had the ball. They did not allow them to move it quickly at all. They were all working in unison. And then the moment that turnover came, they looked as sharp and as crisp as I've seen them. That was just a beautiful Richmond bit of play there. Kept the ball moving, took the game on. They looked right on, 2 minutes in.
Lingy, I still think the Saints, the biggest vulnerability is not covering the corridor, and that's where they got smashed just then.
So bounce down again in the centre. Nankervis wins it, tries to get it to Martin, who's forced to tackle. The umpire says it was held in.
Just to back that up, they just don't cover the corridor. They get sucked into where the ball is, and Richmond keep their width.
Crouch is wrestling with Martin off the ball. Nankervis tries to win it at ground level. He's tackled by Bytel, and the ball won't be coming out. So third stoppage, a ball up, still inside the centre circle.
Saints are keeping 5 forward, and the Tigers are getting 1 up at the ball.
Off the hands of Nankervis. Lambert gets it in the middle. Defensive hand pass. Mansell missed it. Crouch goes through, wins it St Kilda's way. Billings hand pass knocked down. Oh, it spills, and there's a fearsome tackle on Higgins. One over the shoulder. And a free kick to the former Tiger. Jaden Short did not miss him. He's 45 metres from goal. He's to the right of centre.
Just watching the replay on that one. Jack Higgins just doing the clever thing that small forwards do. The tackle was probably going to be a little high anyway, but he just made sure he raised that arm to ensure the umpire saw it.
What a start to the season he's had as a Saint. He kicks across the face of goal, a minor score. It's touched through by Nankervis. The Saints' first scorer behind. Richmond 1 straight through 4 minutes on Grandstand AFL. The SMS number 0437 774 774. Karen of Sunshine has sent us a text in the commentary box. She says, "Hi, I'm a Cats fan, but going for the Tigers." Thanks, Karen. Good to have you with us.
It's been a hot start by the Tigers, and they win a free kick here. Hawley's kick in works its way up the broadcast wing. Castagna wins it. So he gives it off to Short, who drives it long, floating across in front. Couldn't quite take the mark there. It was Battle. Fired out handball, comes to the way of Rioli. He does the fend off. He has to handball backwards to Cochin, who squeezes a high ball goalward, and it hits the point post. So it'll be a free kick to St Kilda, deemed out of bounds on the full.
Well, that was too easy by the Tigers. Again, all the St Kilda players got drawn into that ball. You've got to be able to have numbers, go to the ball, and also peel off at the right time. Otherwise, you're going to end up finding Richmond players free everywhere.
Sinclair into Battle, kicks to the wing. Lovely pass. King marks in between Mansell and McIntosh. McIntosh back in for the Tigers. Hand pass puts Hill in a bind. His kick to half forward. Bolter rises. Couldn't mark. King Robes tackled by Bolter. Taken over the boundary line. Attacking side of the dock swing for St Kilda. Richmond 1 straight. St Kilda 1 behind. Repeating the late changes for the Saints with Jones and Marshall going out. Dunstan and Hunter coming in. Long is the medical sub for St Kilda. Ross for the unchanged Richmond.
And here goes Hunter, caught behind in the ruck. Nankervis all too easy. Straight down to Dusty. Martin's tackled either side though. Gets the handball away to Graham. And now they move it across half-back. Lambert off to Hooley, who's got space through the corridor. Has a bounce and then gives it over the top to Mansell. High ball. 1-on-1, it'll drop inside 50. Howard in front. Going to ground was Lynch. Mopping up at the back, Wilkie. And they move it out of trouble. Ross with a kick round the outer side, only as far as Grimes, whose eyes light up from right on 50. Is there anyone home? Lynch! Tom Lynch, 1-on-1 in the goal square. Too big, too strong. He takes the mark 2 metres out from the goal line, directly in front.
Once again, corridor was wide open for Richmond, and they were sharp with the way they won the ball. And Grimes just saw Lynch in the perfect position. Nice kick to his advantage.
So Lynch outmarks Battle. That'll be a battle tonight. And Lynch wins the early honours. 2 quick ones for the Tigers in the opening 6 minutes. 2 straight 12. The Saints 1 behind.
I know I could risk making myself look really, really ridiculous here, Cal.
Oh, do it, Lingy.
Put
do
yourself on the line, Lingy.
But even now we're 6 minutes 48 into this game. This has got Richmond just really making a big statement, written all over it, and absolutely smashing the Saints.
Right, 6:48.
Yep, write it all down.
Absolutely smashing the
Saints.
Okay.
I'll just back. There's so many injuries in this side for when Geary's not playing and you've got Marshall not playing, so there's a lot of inner strength not playing, so that can be the tendency. But this is an old habit of St Kilda, getting smashed through to a side that understands if you can move the ball through the corridor, you're going to get to Saints every time. So they've got to clean that up.
Yep.
Just to formalise that prediction, Lingy, can you just sign this bit of paper for me? From the middle of the ground, Martin Toe pokes it out wide and it ends up in the arms of Baker. Everything going nicely for the Tigers and Lingy for the moment. Baker's kick to Bolton. Bolton from the city wing, kicks inside the 50, Lynch from behind, brought to the front by Howard. Caulfield got it, he's immediately dragged down and the umpire will ball it up. 35 metres from the Richmond goal at the Lockett end. The Tigers by 11 points at the 8-minute mark.
I hope Saints fans don't get too angry at me, though, listening to this.
You'll be getting the gestures on the way out.
Battle stripped, fighting hard, firing out a handball there. Comes the way of Hunter. Then Wilkie with the kick down the line, and it's out of bounds on the full. It'll be a Richmond free kick on the city wing. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Kelly, the crowd is still building. I would think there would be still thousands of people out in the line to get in the ground. There'd be some listening to us, probably St Kilda fans wondering whether they should be actually coming in.
Broad with the high kick, inside 50. Still a chance through Arts. Arts drives it to Revolt. Got the fly, couldn't pull it down in the end. Ball hits the deck, the Saints swoop. This is Steele, gives it off to Webster. Webster out wide, there's no one there. This will bounce, no, it'll bounce over. Out of bounds on the full again. So error-riddled start here by the Saints, but they are slow starters. And Cameron Ling, at this ground last week, they trailed by 33 points against the West Coast Eagles and won.
Very true, Cal. Saints fans out there listening, still come in. Prove me wrong.
Grimes to Edwards, deep entry for the Tigers to the pack. Punched away from Lynch by Howard, rove by Hunter Clark, hand pass towards the boundary line. Loney working back there for the Saints. His curling kick out of defence is over the head of Dunstan. Coming through Grimes, didn't take the mark, then slipped over on the Astro turf, and lucky for him, can roll his ankle. He's running back into defence for the Tigers. A boundary throw-in 65 metres out from the Richmond goal at left half forward. The Tigers by 11 points.
Tigers have been doing all the attacking. The ruckman wrestle, Nankervis. Bolton goes without it. Works its way towards Wilkie right up on the boundary line, and it trickles over. So just a few metres down from the Saints bench. Another boundary throw-in, half forward here for Richmond. 2 straight 12. The Saints just one behind after the first 10 minutes of play here.
I'd almost say that the Saints have got 2 behind the ball at this stage, or certainly 1.
So Hunter beats Nankervis to it, down to Crouch, just grubbers it towards the wing. Finally picking it up was Butler, gives it back to Crouch, skies the ball. It should favour Short, and it does. He takes an uncontested mark right on the wing in front of us.
Jaden Short, dockside of the ground, plays on through the back point of the AFL logo. Dangerous kick to the middle, turned it over. Steele takes the mark for the Saints. So key in their fight back last week. The captain kicks to centre half forward. Carlisle in game 150, chips to Higgins. 35 out directly in front.
Yeah, turned his back on play 2, L, on that call, and he had a player running almost into the goal square by himself, which is...
Membry.
Yeah.
Needs to kick it now. Needs to kick it regardless of the circumstances leading up to this shot. Higgins on approach, would love to nail one early against his former team, and does. Jack Higgins gets St Kilda's first. It comes 11 minutes in. Richmond 2 straight 12. The Saints 1-1-7 on Grandstand AFL on ABC Sport with Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse.
Well, it's a strange kick from Jaden Short, first of all. It was always going to be turned over. Yeah, and then when the Saints did turn the ball over, they had options galore, and to Jack Higgins' credit, he did go back and nail it.
Yeah, he needed to.
But I know that that is a pet hate of all of ours, when you just turn your back immediately. It doesn't mean you don't have to back yourself and go back and have a shot, but you just got to turn. And if there's a really obvious easy one, hit it. But
Carlisle did. Carlisle took the mark and then turned quickly and got that ball on. So that was good play. I like Carlisle down there because he's going to worry them in the air. He's a good mark, and he probably hasn't got an ideal matchup at the back end at this stage.
No obvious tag for Dusty at this stage. Steele standing next to him right at the centre circle. Now Curvis down to Bolton, tries to just scoop it to Dusty. He fumbles, he gathers back to Bolton. Quick little hand pelt by Nankervis. It's gone straight to Dusty. He slips over. Nankervis fighting hard. It's not really travelling forward at all here for the Tigers. Broad comes in. It's a slippery ball to pick up. Jack Graham eventually does to Asprey. Squeezes the handball to Mansfield, who then goes out wide. Now he was looking for Arts, but he doesn't find him. A turnover here for the Saints as Clark sends it to centre half forward where Carlisle's roaming tonight. No one can pick it up. Eventually spinning through is Bytel. He gives it off to Billings. And now a chance through Higgins. His kick wasn't great though. It didn't favour his full forward in Membry. Instead, Broad was in the right place to take the mark.
Kick comes out to Lambert. Lambert off to Marlon Pickett. Long hand pass taken by Castagna on the wing. Broadcast side of the ground. Helicopter kick towards half forward. Rewalt manages to mark it just inside the field of play. He plays on immediately. Kicks Richmond into the forward pocket. Too much on the kick. Howard back with a flight. Was impeded by Arts. Front on? No. Off hands over for a boundary throw in. The Saints fans not happy with that.
No,
I guess deep in attack.
And all they should be, Al. That was, I don't know about you, Lingy. I reckon that was a mark.
I agree.
And you can't interfere with a player who takes a mark like that. Very ordinary decision.
Saints defenders under siege. Carlisle trying to palm that down to Hunter. Then he goes and wins at his own ball. Handball's off the turf. Missed still. It's a bit too hot. Overcooked it. Graham goes in hard, spinning out of trouble. Off to Edwards, tries the sidestep, has to give it back to McIntosh. McIntosh kicks to the hot spot where Lynch is. Good spoil from Howard. And it lands in the lap of McKenzie, and then he's caught. And the umpire says that's holding the ball. Great tackle by Baker. He'll be rewarded. McKenzie barely had time to get rid of it. The spoil landed in his lap and Baker was on him.
He's unlucky, isn't he? Because if he just accepted the tackle, it could have been a ball up.
Absolutely.
As soon as he tried to break from the tackle and bend a bit, it's prior opportunity, holding the ball.
Yeah, you're right, Ling. Sometimes you just got to be a little bit less brave.
So Liam Baker on the approach, just 25 metres out. He has missed. And that is a poor miss from Baker.
I reckon the Saints are, I know what you're saying, Lingy. I reckon the Saints have settled. They still get their bees are in a honeypot. They just go to the ball instead of manufacturing good play around it. But their eagerness is contagious at the moment.
Oh, there's a kick to the wing that King thought he'd marked. Dragged down by Bolter, falls for Dunstan, the late inclusion, off to Ross, cuts through them in the middle, hand pass away to Dunstan, one over the top to Butler, he feeds it forward, socket out of the air by Short, a volley out towards the City wing. They pursue it at pace, Bolton there, McKenzie there, McKenzie pushed Bolton off it, taken by Battle, off to Ross, off to McKenzie, kick inside the 50, Membry, not quite. Rove by Butler. Once, twice, no. Coming back up, found a free kick.
Yeah, Membry's ball.
Killed a free kick. Membry went up for the mark, got a good piece, and got pushed in the back. Oh, arms chopped.
Yeah, took his arm.
Not a lot in it, Mick, but a free kick to St Kilda, 35 out, 45-degree angle to the left.
Ooh, well, he probably had a bit of ball.
He got the ball.
Yeah, so they're the ones the umpires have got to be... You have to be pretty clear, don't you, if you see an arm get pulled back. I guess his arm did come away from the ball. That's his saving grace there.
Tim Membry to level the scores after St Kilda was sluggish out of the blocks. And Lingy made bold statements. Membry's kick at goal hits the post. Hits the left post. And the margin is 5 points Richmond's way at the 16-minute mark on the SMS 0437 774 774. Peter in Tambo Uppers loving having Kel part of the broadcast tonight. And we had a text come in from Grant in Hobart, who's writing a book as he listens to us. Good on you, Grant. Terrific to have you with us, mate.
So Short with a bounce on that kick in and then drives it long to the Dockside wing. Tigers, though, cough it up. A quick handle by the Saints comes back to Ross. He sends it back inside 50. King almost had to beat a couple. He won his own ball in the end. Handball back to Membry. He fumbles it. Under pressure, Asprey gives it out to Baker. Baker can't take it cleanly. Edwards comes in. Little toe poke, goes about a metre. Back to Baker. Great hustle here by the Saints. It's good stuff. And that's what the warm applause is as Hill gets down. Another fumble in there by Mansell. Throwing his body on the line was Dunstan with a little hip and shoulder low on Mansell.
That's impressive pressure from the Saints. Really impressive. And hunting after the footy in the opposition.
And the one player, Lingy, and I'm right on his back, I know that Hill was the only one in there physically that didn't really hold up.
So the umpire blows his whistle. He tosses it in the air. Sinclair's little toe poke kick ricocheted off a player's head. It comes back to McKenzie, back inside 50, but all red and black, all yellow and black there as Broad takes the mark, kicks sideways to Bolter, and the Tigers defenders are off.
Long ball out to McIntosh, off to Bolter under pressure, gives the hand pass to Broad. Attacking side of the wing they go into the middle of the ground. Bouncing ball, Pickett, off to Bolter, over the top to Rioli. Just a little too much on the hand pass. Rioli impeded slightly. Now he tries to pick up in the pocket, doubles back on the ball. They contest and fight hard, the Saints defence, and lock it in.
Oh, he's going to ping him.
Going to ping it though.
Oh, no.
35 metres from goal. It's a Richmond free kick to the right of centre. There was a contest sliding in.
Oh, he should have been free kick before that. In fairness, I reckon the Saints boy, I don't know who it was, slid in on an angle. They're the worst ones because they can do the knees, and that was the free kick. So that wasn't that free kick, it was something else. It was holding the ball, but
it was McKenzie and Rioli fighting for the ball, and McKenzie on the bottom of the pack has been pinged.
Yeah, but he was one that slid in too, so he should have been free kick.
Rioli returning to the Richmond lineup. Daniel Rioli kicks from 35 metres. Beautiful drop punt. They usually are with Daniel Rioli. Richmond has a third. 3-1-19 to 1-2-8. 18-minute mark on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, Mick, you're right. Watching the replay, McKenzie went in and probably did make prohibitive contact below the knees, and that sliding in rule. I find out once that one's not paid, when you go in low and hard and you're fighting for the footy, battling, it wasn't as though he was on his knees, then reached for the ball, dragged it back under and didn't get rid of it. I understand that's holding the ball, but I love the fact McKenzie was going in low and hard to try and win the ball and just then ended up having it held to him.
Yeah, no, he certainly didn't drag it in. There's no way he dragged it in. So it was really one miss for one bad one.
And I suppose once you go to ground, you do lose some of your rights as the ball winner, don't you?
Richmond by 11, Carlisle into the ruck. He goes head-to-head with Nankervis, wins it down to Cochin. He's got Dunstan running with him, and now McIntosh is tackled to the ground by McKenzie. Gets the ball away just in time. Carlisle fires out, quick hands to Webster. Standing start, kicks it to centre half forward. Billings tries to trap it. Hooley grabs it instead. Off to Broad. Quick hands they go, the Tigers. Edwards kicks around the corner to a one-on-one. Arts, he stopped, and he wins a free kick. His player, Caulfield, went to ground and gave away a free. Saints fans furious. Tigers fans just feeding off the energy, this electricity that's under the roof at the moment at Docklands. Art's kick was short to McIntosh, who pokes it into the pocket where Revolt was on a lead. It goes back past him, and then Sinclair's kick is smothered by Arts over the boundary.
Yeah, well, this is Saints not happy with a couple of decisions. Perhaps Arts was a little bit stiff too. So it's a high-pressured game, and you just got to get on with it.
Tigers deep in attack from the stoppage. McKenzie gets it, kicks out of the pack, but it's intercepted top of the 50. A chance for McIntosh. So Rioli on return with the last goal, and now McIntosh on return. A couple of their premiership players with opportunities in this first quarter to have an immediate impact. The Tigers lead by 11 as it stands at the moment. We're just into time on of the first quarter. McIntosh to kick from 45 metres to the right of centre to the Lockett end. McIntosh, kick on its way. He hasn't got a good piece of that. They fly at the top of the goal square. No mark. Great Rove Edwards. Right foot snap. Superb no. Oh, the goal umpire had a very long look and deliberation before signalling a minus score. It missed on the left-hand side. Sighs of relief for the Saints fans. A 12-point lead to the Tigers through 21 minutes.
And Howard on the kick-in duties. He looks left and he goes right. And he comes back left around the city side. He's able to pinpoint a teammate in Bytel. Marks uncontested. Here's this slicing kicking game. Bytel down the line and Butler marks. A long way from home. Defensive side of the outer wing. He kicks to the attacking side where King's got to beat two, and he does. Strong hands, wheels around. Who's inside 50? Had to stand was Membry, off hands, and Hunter's going to stroll in and kick a goal. The late inclusion for Rowan Marshall Paul Hunter in his third game of AFL footy. It went end to end from Howard on the kick in around the city side. Memory flew and it landed in Hunter's arms right in the goal square, and it brings them back within 6 points. Richmond 3-2-20, St Kilda 2-2-14, and that was Paul Hunter's first goal in AFL footy.
And the key to that, Nick, was the mark from Max King.
Absolutely.
The contested mark. I think it was Dylan Grimes left Membry to go and try and influence that marking contest, but King just stood strong, marked it, and the moment he knew that he'd marked it, he knew he'd have teammates free inside 50 because the Richmond players had come to him, so he got it in quick. Membry had got the free kick, was going to have a shot at goal. Instead, Hunter gets the goal.
Lingy, just on Grimes and Ashby, very, very hard to beat, but King's coming a long way up the ground to take his marks and influence the game.
Hunter now wins the tap down in the middle. Taken by Steele. He's tackled strongly. Oh, the bear hug arms of Nankervis wrapped him up. That's a physical presence to have pile down on top of you. Secondary ball up in the middle. Free kick spotted by the umpire, holding on. Play on to advantage. The Saints come forward. Crouches kick to King. Oh, he couldn't take the mark, but he got pushed. Play on to advantage again. Now, it looked like Loney was going to play on. The umpire was going to wave play on. Loney stopped, and the umpire said, OK, bring it back. Now, we saw an incident during the North Adelaide game on Sunday here where that wasn't permitted.
Again, I don't want to pick on umpires. I don't know whether there's a free kick. It's pretty hard to work out whether there's a free kick there or not with that. But he's in front, and he goes up, and he marks very high.
Coming off a career high 5 against the West Coast Eagles. King gets an early goal against the Tigers and scores a level at the 24-minute mark. St Kilda 3-2-20. Richmond 3-2-20 on Grandstand. AFL under the roof at Docklands.
Well, I hope those St Kilda fans came in from outside the ground.
Yeah, well,
that's not a word I said, but I'm here for everyone's entertainment tonight, Al. But this has been impressive by the Saints because I thought Richmond, they looked sharp. They were all over them. They were swarming them. St Kilda looked completely unprepared in the first 5 minutes. But then within the quarter, they've gone, no, hang on, we need to lock on now. And their pressure's been outstanding. Their ball use has improved. It's impressive.
Inside the front 50, Lingy, they look really dangerous because they can mark high. King and Carlisle, and for that matter, Membry, are all good marking players.
On the boundary, Tim Hodges.
Just on Jake Carlisle, who came off the bench, and he is a deep forward, so they're really spinning the magnets at the Saints.
And still breaks out of the centre handballs back to Sinclair on the left boot. Chance for Hunter, he marks it. He got on his bike. The ruckman's having an impact. The late inclusion with Marshall out. Peeling around there was Crouch. Crouch goes long towards King. The King has risen. He's taken a wonderful contested mark, and he'll go back from exactly the same spot where he kicked a major only a few seconds ago, and a chance to give the Saints the lead as we close in on quarter time.
Kel, that was against one of the great backline players playing at the moment. When I say great, he's a very good backline player, and he's beaten him one-on-one handsomely.
5 goals, 2 last week on this ground. For his second goal, no. He has hooked that to
hit the post.
So it's just kissed the post, must have, as it shaved past. 1 goals, 1 for Max King in this first quarter, and it's the Saints by a point, 3-3-21, Richmond 3-2-20.
First time they've led tonight, the Saints, as Hawley bounces out of fullback, goes with a high kick toward the Docks wing. Castagna playing in front, holding on. Free kick against Hunter Clark, play on to advantage. Cochin kicks to centre half forward. Rewalt slipped over. Battle brings it to ground level. His hand pass straight into Hunter. He manages to collect it off the ground after it ricocheted down. Webster away to Sinclair. Lightning hands. Crouch to Steele. Crouch mown down. Caught at centre half forward. Bolton got him. No free kick to Richmond. It spills to Clark. Out to Steele. His hand pass into congestion. 45 metres from goal. The Tigers swarm and lock it in. A ball up. They look to be on there, but Bolton picked off Crouch.
Great tackle by Bolton, brilliant, and it was a good call. It wasn't holding the ball. He didn't have prior opportunity. Was tackled straight away, but great tackle.
And Curvis only straight down to Crouch, tries to wrench it from him, and now a couple of his teammates, Steele and Dunstan, either side of Nankervis, can't rip it clear. So it'll be a ball up just inside the 50 here for St Kilda. Hunter into space, it favours Grimes, still tackled him. And the umpire says it was too high. It'll be a free kick to Grimes. And 50, as Grimes was trying to get up, still just pushed him into the turf. A shove in the back. Grimes gives him a lighter shove as he takes off after him, and they're streaming down the ground here. Grimes wants to play on quickly. No man on the mark. He sends it to the top of the goal square. Revolt position A, almost had a crack at it. Webster kicks it out of the air, and it'll favour Broad, who can send it back in. Still got plenty of time in this opening quarter. A couple of minutes to play. Looking for Revolt right at the back, not to be. Hill charges through, handballs to Sinclair, ran into Arts. Arts got him, what does the umpire say? Crosses his chest. It'll be a ball up, 20 metres out, directly in front of the Tigers' goal. Tigers trail by 1 point, and there's a minute 47 to play in this first quarter.
Hunter the tap down, straight though to Graham, who's tackled, almost legged in that tackle. It spills to Arts, who jams it on the boot and puts it through for a minor score from close range, but on an angle and under significant pressure. Scores level again, 3-3, 21 apiece through 28 and a half minutes on Grandstand AFL.
So it's Howard to battle in the pocket at the northern end. Battle just wedges it over the top to Sinclair. Still deep in the defensive zone for the Saints. Sinclair, high to a contest, hugs the line. It's punch from behind from Grimes. Pyle jump on it. Umpire says we'll have a ball up. So stoppage after stoppage in the last few moments. Nothing in this one. It's all tied up with a minute to play before quarter time.
Free kick off the ball here, Cal. It's going to go the Saints' way. Loney's ball. I think maybe Hooley,
I think it's Hooley.
threw him to ground. Well off the footy.
Loney kicks to half forward, Membry up to take the mark. 2 long kicks from goal. He's got King, the prominent target. They've been going to him, and why wouldn't you? King in the pack, edged out, couldn't mark. Punch towards the boundary line. Grimes collects, kicks Richmond back towards the city wing, and the umpire says that he kicked it from outside the field of play, so a boundary throw in, 45 metres from the St Kilda goal.
Making some really uncharacteristic errors, the Tigers. That was off the ball, was silly. Running outside the boundary line there was silly because they were playing easily inside the ground.
Carlisle able to win it. Oh, going in hard was Loney, and he was met even harder, too high. Free kick to Loney of St Kilda. On a 45-degree angle, it'll only be 25 metres out, and they wrestle and tangle as Loney tries to get up.
Well, the harder you are at the footy, the more chance you're getting.
He went hard, Mick, didn't he?
He was absolutely... He went as hard as he possibly could. He set that free kick up, and I admire a play like that because, and there is methods to stop them, but the first call there was an arm over his neck because he hit the ball so hard. Sets a wonderful example, that.
Bit of a Joel Selwood move. Jack Loney lining up to put the Saints back in front. Grew up a Saints fan from Seaford, puts it on his boot, but he pushes it right across the face. So they've had some poor misses. Some skill errors by boot. King's missed, Loney's missed, Membry's missed. St Kilda 3-4-22, Richmond 3-3-21.
Hooley very short to Broad. Broad's only a few metres outside the goal square. Quarter time, Thursday night football at the Docklands, and St Kilda leads by a point. Richmond kicked the opening 2 of the game. Started frenetically and worryingly for St Kilda, but the Saints found their rhythm in the game the longer the term went. 31 minutes and 18 seconds for that quarter. St Kilda 3-4-22. Richmond 3-3-21. 4 St Kilda goals to King, Higgins and Hunter, his first in AFL football. And for Richmond, Rioli, Lynch and Graham have kicked the goals. The SMS number is 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch. Many are, Lingy. Heading back from Perth, listening to your call. You might just very well be eating your words, Lingy, at the end of the match. Cheers from Matt, the truckie. Keep up the good work. Dave from Swanpool reckons obviously the AFL has become a non-contact sport. So not happy with a couple of decisions clearly in the first quarter. Loving the call from my All-Australian commentary team. Alistair Kelly, Mick, Lingy, Tim. Wish you could cover every game. Narad says from Mooney Pods. Very kind, Narad. We're well served on every line in the Grandstand AFL department, that is for sure. Irene's at Tewkesbury in Tasmania. Top call, go Saints. She says the best way to get an AFL team in Tassie is to apply for an A-League licence and watch the AFL come running, says Paddy in Dunstown. So Paddy's on the push for an AFL team in Tassie. 0437 774 774 if you'd like to get in touch with us. Remember to give us your name and let us know where you're listening, what you're up to. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Australia's home of free-to-air football coverage is ABC TV and iView.
Buries it into the back of the net. Flies it in, it's turned, goal, it's in! Left foot strike, left it over! That is a stunning goal!
Watch the best players from around the country compete in the A-League each weekend.
Cuts in, shoots, scores! Business under control, the second attempt, left foot strike, left it over!
ABC TV and iView, Australia's home of free-to-air football coverage. The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
The Tigers on the charge. Mansell receives a hand pass. The second gamer goes towards Lynch. Up goes Howard. Can't spoil. Lynch roves. Hand pass to Graham. Through the traffic and through the major opening for the first.
Ross with a kick round the outer side, only as far as Grimes, whose eyes light up from right on 50. Is there anyone home? Lynch! Tom Lynch, 1-on-1 in the goal square. Too big, too strong. He takes a mark 2 metres out from the goal line, directly in front. So Lynch outmarks Battle. That'll be a battle tonight. And Lynch wins the early honours. 2 quick ones for the Tigers.
Steele takes the mark for the Saints. Kicks to centre half forward. Carlisle in game 150. Chips to Higgins. 35 out directly in front. Higgins on approach, would love to nail one early against his former team and does. Rioli impeded slightly. Now he tries to pick up in the pocket. Doubles back on the ball. They contest and fight hard, the Saints defence, and lock it in.
He's going to ping him.
Going to ping it though.
Oh no!
35 metres from goal. It's a Richmond free kick to the right of centre. Returning to the Richmond lineup. Daniel Rioli kicks from 35 metres. Beautiful drop punt.
King's got to beat 2 and he does. Strong hands, wheels around. Who's inside 50? Had to stand with Membry off hands, and Hunter's going to stroll in and kick a goal.
Free kick spotted by the umpire, holding on. Play on to advantage. The Saints come forward. Crouches kick to King. Oh, he couldn't take the mark, but he got pushed. Coming off a career high 5 against the West Coast Eagles. King gets an early goal against the Tigers.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Quarter time at the Docklands. St Kilda leading Richmond 3-4-22 to the Tigers 3-3-21. Richmond had led the game by 12 points into time on of that first quarter. Martin on the SMS on a cool night at Bondi on 0437 774 774 when he's punching the ball an arm chop, says Martin. Brox lives in Ballarat. He goes for the Blues and says, go Paddy Cripps. Nice to have you with us, Brock. On my way to Bremer Bay listening to the footy. Lingy has gone very quiet. Come on the Saints, says Trent. You did set yourself up beautifully, Lingy, but it's good for the game that we've got far more of a contest than you were suggesting might have been the case early on. ABC, love your call of the footy. Mick has had, as always, will have the best understanding of our game. Hopefully Lingy, his apprentice, can as well. Long-time Magpie fan from Geelong is Phil. Good on you, Phil. 0437 774 774. Great to have all of your company. So many texts. We'll work in those as the game goes on. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling, how did you assess the first quarter?
Well, super impressed with the Saints because I was serious and I knew I was setting myself up for potential calamity, but I thought Richmond were and have been for that first quarter as sharp and as on with everything they were doing as I've seen them all season so far, Mick. But gee, I was impressed with the way the Saints responded. They were out of it 6 minutes in, 10 minutes in, and they quickly got themselves into the game going with their high pressure. They fixed up that corridor issue, which you highlighted numerous times. And you're spot on. Richmond were able to walk the ball through the corridor in the first 7 or 8 minutes. The Saints fixed it up within a quarter, which is really impressive.
Quarter.
Not having to wait for quarter time and be told by the coach. And then they got the ball moving, and then the key forwards started taking some big, strong marks and looking really threatening.
Well, Lingy, look, there's 5 players that could be in this side that were out injured. And I think that's more, like when you've got the 2 ruckmen are out, in Marshall and Ryder, and you've got the captain, Geary, Patton's out, and Grisham's out. Now, some of those won't come back. How much does it cost to get in the game? How much at the gate? How much does it cost? Does anyone know how much it costs to get in the gate? Because, I mean, I've got a free ticket. So, I think the people who are paying to get in would be that annoyed at Brandon Hill, or Bradley Hill, because he's playing in the 3rd tier. He's playing the 3rd tier, and he's getting a free seat. So if he wants to grow up, he's got to get onto the ground and start playing football, because this is a fierce game. His pace is needed, his experience is needed, and his leadership is needed.
One kick for Hill as we start this second term.
And the Saints with the clearance, running towards the centre half back position. Dunstan kicks the ball towards the wing. McIntosh will get there first for Richmond. Saints leading by a point. McIntosh kicks to half forward. Martin rarely sighted in that opening quarter. Did well there in the one-on-one. Didn't mark, but fed up a hand pass to Graham, who hits Rewalt on a searching lead. He marks on his chest. 35 from goal. 45-degree angle to the right.
Jack Graham just gets better and better. Every time I watch him, he's so clean, Nick.
Yep.
And he can run, he can cover the ground. Big aerobic tank, but at ground level, he just swoops on it. And then is able to execute skill at high speed as well. It was a nice kick into Jack Rewalt.
12 goals for the season, Jack Rewalt. It's a night that means much to his family. And there's his first major in it. Matty's match. Jack puts Richmond in front at the 5-minute mark of the second term. Sorry, by 5 points at the 1-minute mark of the second term. 4-3-27 Richmond, St Kilda 3-4-22. Down to Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Well, it was interesting listening to Damien Hardwick on Tuesday. He said there were no panic stations. They didn't want to be playing their best football in April. I tell you what, there was panic stations at quarter time. I haven't seen him that animated, and he took a long time to pour over the whiteboard. Then when he spoke to them, it was about a 90-second blast to his team. There was a lot of banging of the whiteboard during that blast, and he walked straight off. So whatever he said has certainly resonated with this team, and they've started appropriately in this opening minute of the second term.
Tim, you're a side that's lost two games. You're a premiership side from last year. You start to have your own doubts, so that's why he would be angry.
Off we go again, Nankervis, straight down to Edwards, tried the underground handback, ball in the end had to go the toe poke to Martin. Martin looked like he might have been taken high. Play on, says the umpire. It comes the way of Sinclair. Through traffic, he squeezes it out to Billings. His opponent went to ground. Billings wants to turn and kick to the top of the goal square, where Carlisle was a clever little slap out to King. It's just a long way down there for King to get down and pick up that ball, and by the time he does, all the Tigers defenders arrive, and Broad tackled by Carlisle. Carlisle wrenches it clear, and then he's set upon.
It's good play, great play by, real desperate by both teams there. That was fantastic football there, and good umpiring too.
And he umpires, he throws it up in the air, and Carlisle swats it into the pocket. Taking off after it was Bolton. Hill's right on his hammer. Handball's back to Pickett, who's got speed. Gives it to Graham. Loops the handball out wider still. Edwards gets it back to Pickett. This is all very clever here, but they might have got themselves in a pickle. Pickett needs Hooley for a bit of help. Back to Bolton, handballing right up against the line. Around the city side they go. Bring it back inboard to Castagna. Handballs to Martin. Martin keeps it low. Does it sit here for McIntosh? No, it doesn't. It was a little awkward, and it allowed Membry to come through. Thump it clear. He goes to ground. Now the Tigers, and Membry again with a bit of hustle, is able to block that handball and see it over the boundary.
Brilliant play by Membry. He has come off that forward line, and he has come back to help out his teammates. I don't even know if he got a stat in that, but I tell you what, his teammates will be patting him on the back. That was outstanding play.
It's the sort of stuff Brett Ratton's been lauding him for. Hunter got the tap down. Martin fights for it at ground level. Still in the traffic. Bytel farms out a hand pass to no one in particular. Martin toe pokes. Castagna had it knocked away by Clark. Hill gets it off to Butler. Slick Richmond style hand pass into the middle. Clark couldn't get on the end of it. Flicked by Marlon Pickett to Edwards. He's confronted Membry, another 1%er. It ricochets to Grimes. Floating kick to centre half forward. Caulfield.
What a mark. They had
Strong.
They had 2 spare players then, Richmond.
And they're on the outer. With a firing long kick, he goes out wide to Loney. Now to Hill. Hill kicks inside the 50. King on the lead. One-handed mark. Held it against his hip. Mr. Casual.
Well,
Like he was holding a briefcase.
What a mark. Check the replay. He's done it on purpose. He was brilliant. Controlled space. The Caulfield mark was superb, first of all, because Richmond had the spare players. And then Max King, thank you very much.
Literally like he was holding a briefcase with those big hands. King's kick, not great, away to the left. Bricks in the briefcase, not gold. A behind to St Kilda, and the margin Richmond's way is 4 points at the 5-minute mark. But already 1 goal, 2 for King. He poses a real threat.
The 2 misses.
Hasn't got his kicking boots on, has he, Lingy?
They were pretty simple.
Okay, here goes Hooley. Down to the wing, strong mark, 1-on-1, Lynch. In front of his opponent, Howard. Play on, says the umpire. Lynch wants to bring it back to centre. It was dangerous. It was picked off by Membry. Membry's going to hold it up. Now, what does he see? They're flooding forward inside 50. Can he pick off a target, Membry? Plenty of air in that kick. It was a disappointing one in the end, and Grimes, well, that's the easiest mark he'll ever take. Dishes it off to Edwards, who gives it to Bolton, cuts across the corridor by foot, and Hawley marks in front of Steele.
Yeah, that's a really disappointing kick by Membry. In the end, he actually rushed the kick.
Hawley looking for Lynch. He's got the sit. He needs to beat a couple. Good spoil from behind by Battle. And now Baker keeps it in play. Back to Martin. Martin on the outside of his boot. He was trying to be a little clever there and really put Arts under the pump. And it's held to him by Steele, Arts and Steele. In fact, it was Lambert, rather, on the bottom of that pack. Not sure what Dusty was trying to do there with the outside of the right boot.
Up it goes. Nankervis's tap, roved by Dunstan off to Sinclair. Court got his hands free to hand pass to Steele. Tumble punt towards centre half forward. Broad back with a flight. Clutches it to his chest. And he fires it out wide to left half back. Asprey.
Well, that's the +1 the Tigers had. The other, the St Kilda player was at the fall of that football, so therefore he couldn't influence that at all. And the Tigers will pick you off every day of the week if they've got the extra one.
Asprey short to Bolter, defensive side of the City wing, and he goes too short. Marks centre wing. A 4-point lead to Richmond over St Kilda. Early stages, second quarter. Short to the top of the 50 to the pack. Nankervis couldn't mark. Wilkie at the back. Caught by Lambert. Dragged down the moment he took possession. A ball up 30 metres from the Richmond goal.
Interestingly, in the first quarter, 37 contested possessions and 27. 37 it was the Saints.
Yep.
That's what got them back in the game.
And that's what happened last week too. Port Adelaide touched Richmond up in that contested possession stat. The Saints working hard at it.
Hunter dabs at it once, then twice to Howard. His kick was smothered. Working hard in there was Martin. He was brought down. Flicked back the way of Edwards. The umpire's blown his whistle. It's a free kick to St Kilda in the congestion. Taken high was Battle. So Battle in the back pocket on the City side of the stadium. He's going to kick it to the wing. Pack flies. Getting his hands to it was Nankervis. Then a high up and under kick from short, almost to Lynch, who had eyes only on the ball. Trying to trap it was Graham. Well played by Steele. Steele and Graham. That's two tough nuts. The St Kilda player's been put down behind play. Meanwhile, Hill with the fend off and gets the kick out of the defensive 50. A high ball. Nankervis reads it best in the air. He floated back and took an uncontested mark in the end.
Yeah, good play by the Tiger defence. They pushed the Saint players under the ball there. They had the extra one player.
Low kick, Nankervis is no good. Hill, though, dropped an easy chest mark. Pickett, top of the 50, brushed to tackle. Dangerous! He smoked it through. At half post height from 50 out. Hill's mistake is Pickett's reward. Richmond's reward. 5-3-33 the Tigers. St Kilda 3-5-23. 8-minute mark, second quarter.
Gee, hit that flush. That's a huge roost from Pickett.
He's a nice kick though, Lingy.
Yeah, that was a beautiful kick. Bad mistake to just turn the ball over there and just pick it 1 or 2 steps from on 50. Good call by you, Al. That is post high off a couple of steps from 50.
I think you've got to go. Let's go back a second before he kicked, or 2 seconds before he kicked. Hill has got to be more aware that this is going to be a physical game of football and expect some contact and stand up and take that mark. I mean, I'm not his coach. I feel like I should be. 2 minutes. You can't have someone running up and down the ground who doesn't put himself in the position to get the hard ball.
Tigers by 10 points. Well done by Bytel. Got it out of the middle, but the handball goes to no one in particular. Baker's able to swoop. Gives it off to Short. Wheels around back inboard, and now Martin's running backwards. Now running sidewards, kicking it straight down the corridor, looking for Bolton, who's hurt himself. He's leapt in the air, Bolton, and he's hurt his hamstring, I think. The mark was taken by Clark. And on the turnover, quick couple of kicks, and Higgins has marked it down low directly in front, 45 metres out.
You're right about Bolton.
Oh, he's
Cal.
up now.
He's up now and just jogging, but gee, he looked awkward when he went for that one.
Maybe cramp as he jumped.
Maybe just slipped on something, but...
All right, well, the turnover has resulted with Higgins directly in front. A super strike from the former Tiger. He is razor sharp tonight. Higgins has got his second, and they're back within 4 points, the Saints. 4-5-29, Richmond 5-3-33. 10 minutes gone in this second term.
Well, Lingy, they're standing out in the middle of the ring, both throwing the biggest haymakers, and they're both got ripping jaws because they're taking some big shots in football, in the boxing terms. But one thing about Higgins, which I haven't really noticed before, when he gets the ball from a mark or a free kick, he goes back and just gets straight on with it. There's no 30-second wait here. I'm going back. I feel comfortable. I'm going to have a real ping at this. But again, I just thought that the Saints' defence again held up beautifully. And when a mark needed to be taken, it was taken. I can't remember who exactly took that mark.
He's like Nick Kyrgios between serves, isn't he? Doesn't waste any time.
No, he doesn't.
Higgins.
Just bang.
Put my head down. I looked up and he was already taking off on the runway.
Rafford
Yeah.
still be getting ready to take his set shot, I reckon, Kel, based on the tennis analogies. Out of the middle, Steele. A hand pass to Ross. Out come the Saints again. Hand pass to Steele again. He kicks to half foot. He was dumped after he got rid of it. No free kick downfield. It's an intercept mark instead. Mansell goes to Cochin on defensive 50. The Richmond captain decides to play on. Runs around Bytel. Hits the kick off the outside of the boot. Lynch flies. Flicked it to the back. Wants Pickett. Pickett can't keep it in. A boundary throw in Richmond's attacking side of the Docks wing. Hi ABC Grandstand, thanks for the broadcast. Carolyn and Rick here, 2 Aussies listening from St Helier Marina in the Channel Islands. Go Tigers. Lovely to have both of you with us this evening via the AFL app. If you're ever overseas, you can stream our broadcasts on the AFL app. From the stoppage, Ross goes in hard, head over the ball for St Kilda. Gave it off to Clark, off to Steele, back to Clark. Left foot kick around the wing. Broadcast side, Carlisle edged out Asprey Marks. Hand pass to Billings, kicks for space. Grimes back with a flight. Membry as well. What a duel this should be. Grimes dives upon it. Might have a problem. Punched it out very late. Membry knocks it St Kilda's way. Arts, though, gets it. A hand pass to Broad. And the Tigers will work it out. Hand pass comes to Lambert. He kicks to the wing.
Oh, Dylan Grimes take a bell there, and he had to beat 3 St Kilda players that were lurking. And the Tigers were able to get it out on the centre wing and over the boundary line. It'll be a boundary throw in. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
I'm just watching Joel. He's got a left heel. He's really struggling to get to the contest. The problem is now Paul Hunter's come to the bench and he said, you're in the ruck. So Carlisle's had to drag himself about 60 metres to get to this contest, and he's just made it.
He's just made it against Pickett. It was even Stevens, but now the Saints at ground level through Steele. Back to Clark. Clark tried to get it to Membry, had to beat a couple. Dylan Grimes, leapfrogging him there. Was Hill? No, Bradley Hill. Mick Malthouse wants you to pick up the footy, not leapfrog players. Now the Tigers have got it. Through the corridor they go. Lambert steadies, kicks sideways. McIntosh, he's got space, assesses the options. He skies that, makes it really difficult for Arts. Ball hits the deck, and now they're off. Arts gets there. He goes to ground. Lambert comes in and helps out as well. Well done by Hunter Clark. spins out of trouble, uses McKenzie over to Bytel. The Saints defenders take a bow on this occasion.
Kick goes out towards Billings, who got a good piece, caught body contact, and the ball's gone over the boundary line. That really felt that might have been a St Kilda ball, but a throw in. Richmond's attacking side of the City wing. The Tigers by 4 points at the 14-minute mark of the second quarter. You're with Grandstand AFL on ABC Sport. Carlisle in the ruck, knocked it down and gathered the ball, gave to Crouch. High up and under around the wing. Baker flies for Richmond and takes the mark. Centre wing outer side, City side of Docklands. Baker wants to move it on quickly. Lynch the target. Over the back though. He's forced to spoil, but he's spoiled illegally on Wilkie. And Wilkie chips to fullback and finds Caulfield of the Saints.
Caulfield has a dash, no one coming towards him. And he goes out wide, looking for Ross, couldn't take the mark. McIntosh just dabbed it forward. That was clever, like a basketball slap, but he couldn't finish it off and get on the end of it. And now the steadier here by the Saints. Clark goes back and forward with Caulfield. They're teasing, they're taunting these Tigers. They've almost stole it. Well done by the young Saints defenders, and it comes back to Clark, who blazes away. Hawley drops a mark he should have taken. Did Cochin take the St Kilda player high? He did. Play on, says the umpire. Bradley Hill pounces on it. He kicks to half forward where Billings has got it. Billings, who's inside 50? Oh, that's a disappointing kick. A turnover. He was going for Membry. Instead, he picked out the tattoos abroad. He was looking at the wrong tattooed player, the wrong tattooed arms.
There's a blur of them out there. Kick goes towards the wing. Webster intercepts for St Kilda. Dock side of the ground, goes defensively to Caulfield. Caulfield back to fullback. Dougal Howard. Coming off a great first season when he was third in the best and fairest for St Kilda. Kicks to McKenzie on the City wing, into the corridor to Carlisle. Nice movement, St Kilda. That could have been 50. Carlisle wanted it. Umpire said play on. Edwards overstepped, but only after he'd left the line. Richmond win it back. Arts to Cochin. Cochin to the wing. Baker, City side, kicks the Tigers to half forward. Onto the chest of Graham. Graham 60 from goal. Richmond by 4 points. He tees it up towards the tall timber. Back with a flight. A commanding spoil from Howard. Through for a minor score. A 5-point lead to Richmond. 5-4-34 the Tigers. The Saints 4-5-29, 16 played of the second quarter.
It's just been a couple of little moments of a lack of composure from the Saints. They'd broken through Richmond. They'd done the hard work, and Billings it was.
Probably should have gone earlier.
Yeah, pulled the trigger earlier and had options galore, and then just chose the worst one of the options.
Okay, so it's the Tigers by 5 points. Howard brings it in around the City side, and there's a free kick against the Tigers.
Yeah, it's good. That's good play. Run, push yourself back into the defender. Any free kicks, you're very well worked out.
Jake Carlisle's playing his 150th game tonight. I've never seen him so engaged, so desperate as a player. He's made a few mistakes out there, and he might not be feeling 100%.
I think he's put where the ball is, Kel, and I think that's really made a big difference.
Sort of reinvigorated him, hasn't it? Now, the Saints have coughed it up round the outer side. Quick hands here. Bolton to Cochin. Cochin's going to really pick up work for it. He almost goes to ground. The umpire says play on. Arts gets it on the bounce. Squeezes the kick. Centering kick to Castagna was perfect. Well done by Jake Arts, playing just his 19th game of footy. And he is able to hit up Castagna, who will have a set shot 35 metres out and not much of an angle at all.
And just a little thing that's happening, you guys were just talking about Jake Carlisle. Marlon Pickett was matched up to him in the ruck, was taking the ruck. As soon as the ruck's gone and done, Pickett's just leaving that contest so quick and getting across and outnumbering. And that's how Richmond got this shot at goal. Just outnumber after outnumber after outnumber through Pickett.
He's been accurate in the blue boots so far this season with 7 goals, 3. Make that 8 goals, 3. Castagna, the sharpshooter, extends their lead out to 11 points at the 18-minute mark of this second term. 6-4-40. The St Kilda Football Club is 4-5-29.
Yeah, well, the Saints are going to have to reply, because the Tigers, once they start to just get that little bit in front and they get their game going, you tend to be on chasing all the time. So those little moments, Lingy, that we spoke about, the Saints have got to take those as opposed to giving the ball straight back. They outnumbered on 2 or 3 occasions, but for some reason or another just did their hands on the ball. Even here they had their hands on the football, but gave it straight back to the Tigers.
They've been doing all the hard things, haven't they? But
Yeah,
then those couple of kicks inside forward 50 were off.
Yep.
The 2 King misses and the Jack Loney miss in the first quarter as well. Just not quite finishing up all that hard work they're doing.
Yeah, and put doubt into Richmond's mind, because there must be some doubt there when you lose 2 games in a row.
And Curvis rises early, wins the tap down, and ricochets off Bolton. A chance for Bytel. He's pitched off it by Edwards. Crouch goes through for St Kilda. His kick's awkward through the middle. McIntosh couldn't take it low down. He then picks up his tackle by McKenzie. Dispossessed. Hooley goes through. Outside hand pass, creative to Rioli. Off to Martin. His hand pass missed Nankervis. Oh, but Nankervis did not miss Dunstan. His head at least almost took it off. Dunstan's free kick at centre half back. Dunstan, one of 2 late inclusions for the Saints. Hunter and Dunstan in. Jones and Marshall not playing tonight. Dunstan kicks St Kilda to the wing. Again, it's not a very good kick. Hunter had to come from behind to spoil on Broad. Bytel takes it. Broad takes him over the boundary line. A throw-in, settling out aside. Richmond 6-4-40, St Kilda 4-5-29. 20 played of the second.
I still feel the Saints have got an extra play behind the ball, so the Tigers have either got one behind or at this stoppage. I just feel they've got it at the stop.
At the contest, Mick, yeah, I agree.
Hunter and Nankervis again. It goes over their heads. It'll be a free kick going the way. Coming back.
Dangerous tackle, I think, Cal.
Right. Bolton will take the free.
Just dumped after the ball got stripped away from him and got thrown.
Thrown. He didn't get hurt or anything.
It was Dunstan on Bolton, so Bolton with the free.
It might have been holding the man. Might not have been dangerous tackle.
Feeds it wide to Broad. Broad short. McIntosh wheels around. Monsters that kick. Goes right to Revolt, who flew as soon as his buttocks hit the ground. The ball spilled out, but it might be mopped up here, and it is. Jack Graham. He's got his second. Revolt with the spectacular hover. It spilled out right at the end. It bounced into the lap of Graham, who snapped it from 20 metres out. Richmond by 17 points. 7-4-46. St Kilda 4-5-29, and they're starting to pull away at the 21-minute mark of this second term.
Yeah, pull away. Not only pull away on the scoreboard, but just around the ground, they just look a little bit tidier. There's more numbers at the football. The old thing about your coach, you say, if there's a photograph taken near the ball, do you outnumber the opposition? And if you don't outnumber them, at least be level. Right now, it's the Tigers that have got more numbers around the footy. So when you've got natural gifted talent and you've got more numbers, you're going to come away with the footy. And so the Saints have now got to lift up that work rate again. Otherwise, they'll be struggling. Hill's going forward.
Be a warning to St Kilda for the 666 violation.
We've seen it a lot this season, haven't we?
Yes. We even saw a free kick paid.
Yep, we did. Yes. Yep, I think that was last week. Kangaroos and Crows.
Hunter and Nankervis in the middle. Hunter takes possession, hand pass over his head, but it went straight to Martin. His hand pass along the ground. Bolton to try and pick it up, but he's under pressure from Crouch. Nankervis had it, lost it. Martin sidesteps through 2 Saints. Kicks on his left to Rewalt, no. Punched away by Battle. It's in the pocket. Tigers in attack. Clever tap. Sinclair towards Webster. Worked it out towards the boundary to Ross. Off to Battle. His kick of about 6.5 metres is off the outside of the boot and out on the full. And Martin coming into the game. He'll have the free at left half forward.
Yeah, and they're the mistakes that have been made right now. The Tigers forcing those errors.
So the kick taken by the Tigers. Lynch flew, top of the goal square. They're under the pump again. Here's Hill. Last line of defence. Hands to Dunstan. Dunstan by foot. It's a wobbler. It flies high. Broad couldn't take the mark in the end. He's brought down by his former teammate in Higgins. Higgins with a great tackle on his Tigers opponent, Mansell. And it's Baker that gets the kick. And it turns in the pocket, the right forward pocket at the Frawley end. Revolt was lurking, but he didn't get the right bounce. Instead, over the boundary line, it'll be tossed back in.
Tigers by a game high 17 points. 23-minute mark of the second quarter. You're with Grandstand AFL on ABC Sport. At the back of the rug contest, it's picked up in the pack. Rioli, left foot snap. Curling kick will be marked in the pocket. He was going for goal. He pulled the kick, didn't get enough on it, and Lynch marked. Right forward pocket, 20 from goal, tight angle. He's only a couple of metres in from the boundary.
And all that was Tom Lynch just being prepared to spit forward to that stoppage and play the odds.
Yep.
Just back his teammates in and someone will win it and squirt it out to me.
Left foot snap he tries, he misses. Near side, an 18-point lead to Richmond over St Kilda through 24 minutes of the second
He looked
quarter.
like he was lining up, Lingy, with the traditional approach. Jack Revolt went over and had a chat, and he turned to the snap step shot.
The left foot snap. Usually just back whatever the player thinks rather than getting advice there, I would have
I
thought.
wonder whether Jack gave him a bit of advice or was asking what they're going to have for dinner after this tonight. Tigers by 18 points.
50 metres.
That's 50 against
There's
Lynch,
50
isn't it?
metres. Every day of the week.
Been hesitant to call that tonight. A few times Carlisle thought he had a 50 when a man on the mark moved as well, and that's a disappointing kick out of bounds on the forward to be a free for the Tigers as Bolter kicks backwards with all the time in the world. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Jimmy Webster's come off the ground, Kel. He's done a hamstring. He's been given a bag of ice, and Ben Long has just taken the T-shirt off in front of me. He's going to come into this game in his 50th game, so the medical sub has been
I better
activated.
jump in because one of your good mates, Jack Revolt's got it. He almost tried a goose step and he sends it to the goal line. Lynch flew. Not paid. Knocked out at the last minute. Still scrambling and fighting, but the umpire's blown his whistle. He's blown his whistle. He says it'll be a ball up right in the goal square. Right in front of the rampaging Tigers cheer squad. And they all try to toe poke it through for a goal, but it's not to be. It's soccer through for a behind. So Richmond 7-6-48. They lead it by 19, 4-5-29. That's not good news for the Saints. They've got such a big injury list. Jimmy Webster off with a hamstring injury.
And he's had such a difficult run with injury, Jimmy Webster. Short kick in from Howard is marked by Steele. Steele out to right half back and Wilkie. Still inside defensive 50. City side of Docklands. Another short pass. Steele involved again.
I guess at least they got Long as their injury player, so he can play in a half back line. But Webster was in really good touch too.
Steele kicks to the wing. Carlisle the spoil on Asprey. Hawley gets it. He took him on. He's gone. Thought about the hand pass. Didn't initially give it. St Kilda free kick out of side to be taken by Butler. And he runs the boundary line with a couple of bounces. No one on the mark. This was employed against Richmond last week. Kick towards King. Oh, he got a piece of it. No significant pressure. Didn't mark. Hand pass comes out of the pack. Crouch from an impossible angle. Hill. No. It's gone through for a minor score between the goal and point post.
I think it hit the point
Hit
post.
the point post. Okay, Hill thought he was half a chance to mark for a moment.
They move it quickly, the Tigers. Pickett got it to Cochin, got it to Martin, who's brought down in a wonderful tackle by Battle. It spills the way of the Saints. It's kicked into the pocket. And taking off after it was Higgins, but it didn't sit for him. He's usually a bit of a Sharon whisperer, Jack Higgins. He can make the ball talk, but he couldn't on that occasion. And instead it's a boundary throw in 10 metres around from the Saints goal. Tigers with the last couple. They open up a handy lead. Billings thought he could break through the traffic and kick a goal, but 3 Tigers got him, and he's eventually pulled up off the bottom of that pack. So tossed in the air, 20 metres out. Carlisle into space where McIntosh gives it over to Asprey. Kicks around the outer side. Lynch takes after Wilkie and almost brought him down. Howard's playing high. Bounces it back inside 50. Over the head of King. Waiting at the back was Billings, but instead he got his boot to it, his big toe, over the boundary, and it'll be another boundary throw in.
Tigers have got they've only got 3 players outside, or the 4 players outside. It's now 5, but they outnumber the Saints at these stoppages. The Saints have got to pull these players away from this stoppage.
Richmond by 19 points. Carlisle in ruck against Nankervis, who takes possession. His kick is smothered, still inside the 50. For St Kilda, Graham's hand pass comes out. Cochin sweeps it wide. Mansell's driving ball towards the wing. Rioli one-on-one with Caulfield. Rioli no eyes for the ball. Caulfield marked it anyway. Man-handled but still marked. Short pass into the middle. Hunter took it. Thought about taking off. Elects to go back. and send the Saints inside 50. An awkward kick, and Pickett picked it off on defensive 50.
And he gave it to Bolter, who doesn't waste any time. Kicks to a 3-on-1, but one is Martin. He couldn't weave his magic. Battle takes the mark. Battle short to Caulfield. Just in front of the Tigers bench, where Revolt's sitting down having a breather. Last minute before half-time. Caulfield short to Crouch. They've got to be told that they don't have too much time here. Crouch goes up the line. And it's just slapped over there by the second game up, Ryan Mansell. They've worked it from a few metres away from the Tigers bench to a few metres in front of the Saints bench. Got it to half forward here, St Kilda. They trail by 19 points. Waiting for the siren to go for half-time. Sliding onto it was Dunstan. Couldn't take it cleanly. Sinclair set upon. Pickett goes after it. So too Nankervis. Little toe poke. Lambert soccers it further afield. Gets it over to Arts, who gives it back to Lambert, who kept running. He can handball over the top, and Tom Lynch all by himself in at goal square. They lead it by 25 points. The siren about to sound for half-time, and they've rattled off the last 3 goals here, the Tigers. 8-6-54, St Kilda, 4-5-29, the biggest lead of the night, 25 points. After St Kilda led it by 1 at quarter time. And Tim Hodges, there might be another injury for St Kilda.
Well, Luke Dunstan was just hobbling towards the bench, and he was told there's only, less than 10 seconds left. So he's walking back towards the wing right in front of us here, guys. But the way he was just heading to the bench, it looked like he was absolutely injured. Just repeating the news, Jimmy Webster out of this game. Another soft tissue, so his wretched run just continues.
How good were Richmond in that surge? And Kane Lambert was the man who ended up getting the handball over the top, involved a couple of times. They just swarmed all over St Kilda then.
This is getting away from the Saints. We said that last week. From the middle, Edwards again will kick Richmond forward. Can they find a late mark? No. Intercepted by Wilkie on defensive 50, and that is half-time. Richmond asserted itself on the game and on St Kilda in that second quarter. The Tigers kicked 5 goals, 3 to St Kilda's 1 goal, 1. Half-time, Richmond 8-6-54. St Kilda 4-5-29. 2 goals to Graham, 2 goals to Lynch, singles to Riewoldt, Castagna, Rioli and Pickett for Richmond. For St Kilda, 2 goals to Higgins, a goal to Hunter and a goal to King. So half-time here, Richmond by a game-high 25 points over St Kilda. 0437 774 774 is the number if you'd like to get in touch with us. What are you making of it all tonight? Adrienne, Blue supporter from Hampton East, is enjoying the umpires being in blue tonight. Cito from Brisbane, TV on mute. Terrific coverage, team. Keep up the great work. Go Saints, says Cito. Great to have you with us, mates. 0437 774 774. And we'll lead to some comments from Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling with the following question. Mike from Kyneton. Ribbon call from the A-team as always. Thanks. Question for Michael and Cam. Based on your calls, Martin, a great player. He's had a quiet season by his own standards so far. Is it fair to say the other teams have finally got his number? Mike, I'm not sure he has had a quiet season, Dustin Martin, has he?
Mike, I'm going to disagree with you here. I think last year there were times where Dustin Martin was bored during the home and away season and just ripped apart the finals. I think he's feeling it this year. He's enjoying crowds being back. He was reasonably well held last week. I'll give you that one absolutely, Mike. I thought
23 he had against Port Adelaide. Yeah. He had 20 against the Swans.
And yeah, okay, that's fair then. I thought Ryan Burton did a really good job on him, went with him everywhere. He's had 15 to half-time here, and he's just building his influence on this game. First 2 games, though, I'm probably thinking of those more. I thought he ripped both of those games apart.
He's best on ground in that season opener. He was extraordinary. He only had 5 touches in the first quarter.
Yep. Yeah, so, okay, Mike. No, it's 50-50. I'm probably thinking more of the first 2 games where I saw both of those, and he tore them apart, but well held in the last 2 weeks. But I think as a whole, Richmond haven't had the game on their terms at all in the last 2 weeks. Last week was a ripping game against Port Adelaide. But Sydney just took them apart the week before, which was really impressive by the Swans. Just feel this is back to the Richmond way this first half. And St Kilda, incredibly brave in that first quarter, as we touched on at quarter time, Mick. But This looks more like the Richmond that I remember in the final series last year and the 2, 3, 4 years before that. They are swarming all over them, and I think Dusty does his best work when everybody's working in unison at the Tigers. Kane Lambert does so much of the work for him, Graham, Castagna, all of those players, and then Dusty is just that brilliance on top of it all. But that's what I picture Richmond as, Mick, what's happened in this first half.
Yeah, you're right, Ling, and you can go even deeper still. You know, their half-back line are attacking. They can still defend very well, but they end up having shots on goal. You've got key players at some stage, and I'll get back to Dusty Martin. You know, I've played and coached for 40-odd years, and it's very difficult to say that one player who was probably you thought was the best player ever was able to play 22 really good games of football, because there's always someone that's going to be better than you at some stage. And his first game this year, I thought, the competition's in trouble here because he was that good. But he lowered his colours a couple of times, but very rarely is he beaten one-on-one.
Yeah. And
I think it's a bit like Richmond will be hunted this year. They're two-time premiers in the last 2 seasons, so they're going to be hunted. If you've won a Brownlow and you've won the North Smith medal a couple of times, you're going to be hunted. And it's logic that they're going to try to find ways to limit your abilities to be a good player. And that's the mark of great players, to be able to overcome that. And I think he's in terms of a great player.
Yep.
And the Tigers are a great side. I just thought that the Saints in that quarter had 3 or 4 really great opportunities to score a goal. Not just score, but score a goal. They fluffed a lot of them. Outside of Higgins, that one shot, I didn't even count that one. I counted Kings, and I counted the number of times that they had the football. Billings in particular just was too slow with the footy. Even that last time, too slow with the football going in. And of course, the Tigers had the extra player back there, so it's good night, because once you take a forward away from your forward line and try to beat the best side defensively, all you're doing is just running into a brick wall. So you've got to be able to manufacture that ball going forward and control the ball like they did in the first quarter.
Frampton directly in front.
Even Carlisle takes the mark, and I say even because he's not necessarily played forward too often, but they didn't get that quarter.
No, and the Billings one is an example that you're talking about. It is so hard to break through Richmond, that initial wave. I've been saying how they swarm all over you and their momentum gets the ball going forward, and that's how they score. It's so hard to get through that.
Yeah.
But once you're through it, which Saints were in that situation, Billings had them completely wide open. They'd actually done all the hard work.
And stopped.
All he needed to do was hit that last kick, a simple little one, and someone's having a shot 35 metres out from goal. You're right, he stopped. Wasn't sure, do I take that one? No. Or he might cut. And by the time he'd hesitated 6-7 seconds,
so long
Richmond had it covered.
Another 2 players
and
back
the
there.
One he ended up going for ended up being the worst decision out of a lot of them. So if you're going to beat Richmond, you have to, first of all, you have to be good enough
and take the chances,
physical enough to get through them and handle all that swarming pressure. But once you get through, you've got to take that chance. And your last kick, your composure has to be spot on. And it wasn't quite for the Saints, and Richmond, unfortunately for Saints fans, just made them pay at the end of that quarter.
So neither Zach Jones nor Rowan Marshall came up for the Saints tonight. Dunstan and Hunter were the late inclusions, and an unfortunate injury as well for the Saints in that second term. Tim Hodges, what's the latest with Jimmy Webster?
Oh, well, Jimmy Webster, it was almost as if he gave the club about 3 or 4 minutes. I reckon he said, I've got 3 or 4 minutes left in me, get Ben Long ready. And then he came off and he hobbled off and jumped onto a bag of ice. So I just thought he'd done a hamstring the way he sat on it, but it's actually a groin. We thank the club for letting us know that he's done the groin, so his soft tissue curse continues. Unfortunately, Webster's going to be out for another extended stint on the sidelines, but in his 50th game, Ben Long is the medical sub, is into the game, and that's before half-time. So unfortunate news for the Saints and for Jimmy Webster with that groin injury.
Thank you, Hodgie. On the boundary on the SMS 0437774774. Brock in Ballarat says, go Blues. Good to have you with us, Brock. Thanks for your message. Martin in Bondi, how's the bloke going wearing your former number 7? Playing almost like you, Mickey Malthouse says. Martin, Mick's just started out the back, Martin, but we'll pass that on to him. So many of your texts coming in tonight, which is terrific. Bill reckons the Saints, are they just warmed up for another half of footy? Well, we saw last week, Bill, they were 33 points down at the 22-minute mark of the third quarter and roared home, kicking 8 goals, 6 to West Coast, 1 behind. Richmond obviously is a very highly credentialed team. West Coast, though, good team as well. So we wait to see whether the Saints can find a way back into the game. As it stands at the moment, a 25-point lead at halftime. Richmond 8-6-54 to 4-5-29. News coming up on Grandstand AFL, and they'll update a few other scores with an NRL clash tonight. The Sheffield Shield final getting underway today. We've got a broadcast available. If you'd like to listen to the Sheffield Shield final, you can do so through the ABC Listen app or around the footy coverage on ABC Sport Digital on your digital radio. But the best place if you want to get it whenever you want it is the ABC Listen app. So we'll update those scores for you shortly. That's after a trip to the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. Federal health authorities say at this stage there's no conclusive link between the death of a New South Wales woman from blood clotting and a COVID-19 vaccination. It's understood the 48-year-old woman who'd suffered from diabetes received a shot of an as-yet unnamed vaccine last Friday before being admitted to hospital a day later. Authorities say that more tests are needed to confirm what role, if any, the vaccine had in her death. Earlier this week, the head of the Therapeutic Goods Administration, John Skerritt, indicated that despite many reports of clotting after receiving vaccinations, most of the time they're coincidental. The Prime Minister's warned it will still be some time before Australia's international borders can reopen. A travel bubble with New Zealand is due to begin later this month, and Scott Morrison has asked medical experts to examine how and when more restrictions could be lifted. But Mr Morrison's told Nine Radio the COVID-19 vaccination program's not a silver bullet, and many countries remain high risk.
When you're talking about countries, for example, like Indonesia or India or Papua New Guinea, or countries where we know that the virus is in a very strong form, including in Europe and even still the United Kingdom, the United States, Australians, I don't think would welcome the incursion of the virus into the country.
The captain of a ship off the coast of WA has tested positive to a rapid COVID test and is expected to be taken off the ship tonight. It follows a crew member testing positive and receiving treatment ashore. The Filipino man in his 50s now in hotel quarantine, and the Premier Mark McGowan says once the captain is taken off, he expects the Aqua Genie bulk carrier will sail out of waters near Karratha as soon as it's safe. The Australian government has announced it will follow the lead of the United States in withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. Prime Minister Scott Morrison says the remaining 80 ADF personnel still stationed in the country will return home by September. The US has also announced it will withdraw by September 11, on the 20th anniversary of the attacks on New York and Washington. The US President Joe Biden says it's time to end America's longest war.
Keeping thousands of troops grounded and concentrated in just one country at a cost of billions each year makes little sense to me and to our leaders.
A lack of national leadership's being cited as a key factor behind hundreds of Indigenous deaths in custody over the last 30 years. Today is the 30th anniversary of the final report of the Royal Commission into Aboriginal deaths in custody. At least 450 First Nations Australians have died behind bars since then. Only around 2/3 of the recommendations aimed at curbing the Indigenous incarceration rate have been adopted. Labor Senator Pat Dodson says institutionalised racism plays a part in a lack of a strong response.
Various governments over the period has been neglectful. It hasn't been monitored properly. There's been no national resolve, no national leadership shown in addressing the key factors.
The Treasurer says the government will wait until the federal budget to confirm whether the superannuation guarantee will increase as planned. The superannuation rate scheduled to increase gradually from 9.5% to 12% beginning from July, but some business groups have called for that to be delayed. Labor's demanded the government immediately commit to going ahead with the increase, but Treasurer Josh Frydenberg says he's not willing to do that.
I know you'd love us to comment on every bit of media speculation about the budget, but then we'd ruin those surprises for budget night, and we're not about to do that.
A former South Australian Labor staffer charged with child sex offences will remain in police custody for at least another week as a court waits to learn if his home detention arrangements would be suitable. 38-year-old Benjamin Waters has been charged with producing and possessing child abuse material. He's appeared in the Adelaide Magistrates Court following a mental health assessment. The magistrate has said she'd be inclined to grant bail after the suitability of his nominated home detention site, his mother's house, is assessed. The matter will return to court next week. And unrest has continued on the streets of the US city of Minneapolis despite the police officer who shot dead a black man last week being charged with manslaughter. Officer Kim Potter's facing charges of second-degree manslaughter over the death of Daunte Wright, who she shot accidentally, mixing up her pistol for her taser while arresting him. Civil rights lawyer Ben Crump is representing the Wright family. He says that it's hard to believe that a 26-year veteran of the force could make that mistake.
All this training, at what point did you not feel that this was a gun in your hand versus a taser?
I'm Glenn Lauder. That's the latest ABC News.
For the latest sports results and stories from around the globe and at home, check out ABC Sport on our social pages. Just search ABC Sport wherever you scroll.
Hi, I'm Emma from The Wiggles. We're celebrating 30 years with our friends at the ABC. Join us for We're All Fruit Salad, a collection of our favourite Wiggly tunes from the last 3 decades, featuring original classics like Hot Potato and Rockabye Bear, plus new favourites from Anthony, Simon, Lockie and me, Emma. We're All Fruit Salad, the Wiggles' greatest hits. Watch the collection on digital or DVD and listen to the album wherever you get your music.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Martin didn't mark but fed up a hand pass to Graham, who hits Rewalt. 35 from goal, 45-degree angle to the right. Jack Rewalt. It's a night that means much to his family. And there's his first major in it. Hill kicks inside the 50. King on the lead. One-handed bar. Held it against his hip. Mr. Casual.
Well,
like he was holding a briefcase.
What a mark.
Low kick, Nankervis is no good. Hilda dropped an easy chest mark. Pickett, top of the 50, brushed a tackle. Dangerous! He smoked it through. At half post height from 50 out.
McIntosh wheels around. Monsters that kick. Goes right to Rebo, who flew and the ball spilled out. But it might be mopped up here, and it is. Jack Graham, he's got his second.
Jimmy Webster's come off the ground. He's done the groin, so his soft tissue curse continues. Ben Long is the medical sub, is into the game, and that's before half-time.
Lambert soccers it further afield, gets it over to Arts, who gives it back to Lambert, who kept running. He can handball over the top, and Tom Lynch all by himself in a goal square. They lead it by 25 points.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Great to have you with us wherever you're taking in our coverage tonight around the country or around the world. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Sport, and Richmond leads St Kilda by 25 points at half-time, with the news worsening for the Saints. Jimmy Webster, unfortunately, out of the game with a groin injury. Ben Long coming in as the medical sub. In the NRL tonight, there's a potential boil-over brewing at Lang Park in Brisbane because the Broncos are leading almighty Penrith 12 points to 10 approaching half-time. Plenty of football left to be played there, but an encouraging start for Brisbane in that clash with Penrith. In the Sheffield Shield final, well, ball has certainly dominated bat on day one at Allan Border Field. New South Wales was dismissed for only 143, and Queensland, in reply, is 1 for 58. For New South Wales, Patterson made 43 as the top scorer. Michael Neiter, 5 for 27 for Queensland, and Jack Wildermuth, 4 for 21, did the damage with the ball. For Queensland, in reply, Burns was out for 20, caught Holt off the bowling of Hazelwood. Street is 14 not out, and Labuschagne is 23 not out. So Queensland in a strong position after day one of the Sheffield Shield final. If you'd like to listen to live ball-by-ball coverage, you can do so on the ABC Listen app. Jim Maxwell and the team are there at Allan Border Field, calling all the action for you. So you can tune in tomorrow via the ABC Listen app and for the remaining days of the contest, however long it lasts. So ABC Grandstand continuing its commitment to broadcasting the Sheffield Shield final with Jim and the team in action, and Queensland in a strong position heading into day 2. 1 for 58 in reply to New South Wales' total of 143. On the SMS 0437 774 774. Long should never be dropped. Inspired player, motivate your team, coach, says one of our listeners. So Long into the game. James in Belgrave says, I like Tom Lynch and understand that he is usually 2-on-1 and that one of his main jobs is just to get the ball to ground, but he is so often out of position and behind, doesn't seem to be able to use his body. Even in a one-on-one, I was always taught to be in front. If he did, maybe he would actually take a mark, says James. Thanks for your contribution. James, 0437 774 774. And Brock wants to know, will the Blues beat Port Adelaide on Saturday? Well, it looms, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling, as a huge game for Carlton, now having picked up a couple of wins in the season. But is it about time Carlton claimed a scalp, and Port Adelaide, with a few very good young players missing at the moment?
It's a good time to get them. Dersma will be out, Butters will be out, Rosie will be in doubt, and there's no doubt after that game against Richmond last week, most of the other players will be sore. They gave their absolute all against the Tigers. Fantastic win. Good sneaky little chance for the Blues.
Oh, I think they've got the goods to really worry them. Here, it's the size ground that doesn't tend to allow Port to get as much width run. I know it sounds strange, but they do like that run. And as you said, Lingy, you take out some of the cream, and they are the cream of the crop, those guys. Yep. This is their opportunity, the Blues.
Now, Mick, Martin had a question for you about how's the bloke going wearing your former number 7, playing almost like you, Mickey Malthouse reckons. Martin, he's referring to Liam Baker.
Oh, I love the way he plays.
In a straight line.
Well, I was wondering which I was going to say. Well, 7, yeah, 7 for the Tigers. I never wore 7 for the Saints, but yeah, he's and he's size-wise, he's he's not overly tall, but he can mark. He's tough at it.
Do you ever have that haircut, Mick? That's short on the sides and long at the back?
I had the chops down to right down to the side of my mouth there, Cal. But I also didn't have 3 premierships. Has he got 3?
Yeah, he's got 3.
Yeah, well,
yep. He's sitting on the bench at the moment.
We only dream of that, but we've got a bloke next to him who's got 3.
The Broncos lead Penrith 12-10 at halftime in the NRL. Second half action on Grandstand. AFL Richmond by 25. Kelly Underwood.
Nankervis with the first touch. Straight down to Dunstan, who was tackled to the turf, and the umpire says, good tackle, Shane Edwards. Will bull it up on the edge of the circle. Doesn't waste any time. Rectangular game. Nankervis once, twice, and then thumps it to Hunter Clark. Streaming off halfback, puts it out in front of his teammate, who handballs straight to the ground, and Bolter picks it up. It was Billings that gave it to Bolter. Bolter to McIntosh, and McIntosh down low, and it's a turnover. A mark taken by Sinclair. Goes short to Wilkie. So a couple of intercepts. Oh, the man on the mark's moved. It'll be a 50.
Lingy, I can only hope that they move the ball quickly and give their forwards some hope.
The Saints, yeah, they have to. They have to.
It's against Camden McIntosh, and Wilkie's got it.
Kel, there was no way knowing that's 50.
Bit short.
10 yards.
Bombs it long. Carlisle flies almost in the pocket at the back. Short handballs it to Pickett. It's set up for an anxious moment. And now Grimes, who does his best work on the ground. A handball, underground handball. They do it all the time, these Tigers. It doesn't come off for Asprey. And then a tangle of arms and legs as Cochin tackles. Top of the goal square. It'll be a ball up.
The Saints cannot let up on their pressure and their contest at all. It's got to go flat out for the rest of this game.
Nankervis just bumps into Carlisle. And then another big scrum forms at the top of the goal square. So we'll reset and go again.
Well, it's a good setup by the Saints, but the +1 is caught in no man's land.
At the stoppage, comes down to Crouch. He's immediately tackled by Nankervis, who just grabs at anything in front of him and locks it in.
And that's the extra. There's the Richmond's extra is right where the ball is now.
Nankervis takes it out of the ruck this time, off to Asprey, who gets a clearing left foot kick towards the back flank. Caulfield and Rioli wrestle. Riewoldt picks it up, fends away from Hill too easily. Worked it out into space. Graham runs, gathers, bounces, awkward one. Skinner didn't come back. Then he's met heavily. Front on almost by Battle, who soccers around the boundary line. It needs to stay in, or it might be deliberate. Umpire has a good old think, a good think, before calling for a ball in.
Good decision.
He looked like he was going to go for deliberate, thought a little more about it, and he decided that he would call for a ball in at right half forward for St Kilda. And Curvis down to Edwards, wobbler towards the wing. Rioli in front of Caulfield, couldn't mark, but he's dangerous at ground level. Crashing in Dunstan, one for the Saints, off to Caulfield by hand.
And then he gave it over to Butler and then went to Crouch into no man's land. Picking up was Dunstan, a little clever. Dusty Martin was onto that. He stole it, but Crouch steals it back. Swung around in a tackle to Lambert. Now Rioli through the centre corridor they go. Loops it over the top to Cochin. Has a dash, looks up and delivers perfectly, expertly to Jack Revolt, who had got his opponent Wilkie under the ball and then tracked back and took an uncontested mark. 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Revolt is going to line up for his second goal of the night.
Well, they got that because they had the extra number up around the ball and didn't make a mistake with the footy. It was a clean getaway.
So Jack Revolt in Matty's match. There's a splash of purple under the closed roof tonight. It's a game that means a lot to him. He's already kicked one, but he won't kick a second right now. He's pushed it right across the face, missing to the right-hand side. So St Kilda 4-5-29 and Richmond 8-7-55. Put on a point since half-time. It's Tigers by 26, Mick Malthouse.
Well, I was going to say to Lingy, it's almost, you just can't afford to have the extra player behind the ball now. You've got to marry up with him and see if you can beat him at the source.
Yep.
Sorry, Lingy. Howard to the wing. Cochin roved it off the pack, gave to Short, who kicks to Lambert at centre half forward. Lambert holds it up. Rewalt's the deepest target. Lambert goes in the Martin direction with 2 to beat. Wilkie couldn't mark. Arts roved it, immediately tackled. Ball up 25 metres from the Richmond goal at the Lockett end.
He tried to draw the high contact there and well umpired by the umpire. Yeah, you're right, Mick. If that spares, if Richmond are able to just cut their way through and around that spare, well, you may as well then throw him up around the contest. He's not doing anything.
So Hunter beats Lynch to it, but roving it beautifully, expertly was Edwards. Hunter for St Kilda tapped it straight down to the opposition, Shane Edwards, and he snapped through his first. And that is 4 consecutive goals for the Tigers, bracketed by that halftime break. Richmond streaking away now, 9-7-61. St Kilda 4-5-29, the 5-minute mark of the third term.
He made that look easy then, Edwards. That is extremely difficult to do. To take it at full pace. The hit was just slightly behind him, so he had to gather one hand, heading diagonally away from goal at speed and pull it back across your body and kick the goal. That is hard, I can tell you that. And he made it look as easy as you like, just having a kick in the park. That is a brilliant goal. Well played.
St Kilda squarely challenged here, as they were last week by West Coast, but this has a bit of a different feel about it at the moment. Richmond has a ruthless edge tonight. Secondary ball up in the middle after a wonky one. Nankervis just got boots of ball, knocked out by Cochin to Bolton. He's tackled. Scrubby kick to centre half forward. Lambert there, under pressure from Clark. Left it for Graham. Hand pass towards Nankervis. Bowled past him. A collision. Steele and Hooley. No one gave an inch. Baker gets it for Richmond. Off to Short, uses his left boot. Kick was partially smothered. Long gets a hold of it. Broke 2 tackles. Poor hand pass though. Straight to Rewalt. Off to Martin. Walks his way through the traffic. Goes bang for goal. And whatever they pay him, there's bang for buck. Dustin Martin deadly. Found space where there appeared to be none. And the finish that was required. 10-7-67 Richmond. St Kilda 4-5-29. The margin of game high 38.
Well, for a moment there, I reckon he thought, oh, do I give that one off, Mick? But then he just realised, oh, yeah, actually, I'm Dustin Martin. I just kicked those. He's given a few off this year, but that was trademark Dusty, that. On the move. First of all, great pressure from Richmond that created the turnover, but just threw a tackle, exploded away, crossed the body. Again, I'm talking about the Shane Edwards one being a difficult kick that is made to look easy. That's the same. That's a hard kick to make.
Yeah. But his first 4 or 5 steps, Lingy, you can't stop that. It's like a truck coming at you. I don't see anyone going to him, so...
Hunter down to Steele, back to Hunter. Gets the handball off to Crouch, eyes on the ball. Hooley came at him like a truck. He wraps him up.
Very well, very one-paced in the middle, the Saints. There's not a lot of explosiveness in there.
Nankervis just tosses Hunter aside and then he handballs to Bolton, who fumbled it. Toe poked it forward. It went about 40 or 50 metres and now the foot race is on. Who gets there first? Clattering in was Ben Long. He might have hurt himself. So too Lynch, who's slow to get up. And the umpires picked out a free in there and said it was a push in the back against the Tigers. It'll be a free kick to Long.
Yeah, it was a push against Arts. Cal, good call. And I reckon Long and Lynch might have clashed heads. Looking at the replay. They're both up. Look okay, but...
So Long a little groggy in his kick sideways. Just pops up for an anxious moment, but Wilkie's able to take the mark and then get it over to Caulfield by foot. There was a lead by McKenzie and that's ignored.
This is where they get held up. Tigers really do cross the ground very, very well and cut out the supply.
So back to Clark, back to Long, who started this passage of play in exactly the same spot. Kicks up the ground to Higgins, kept it in play. Did he? No. It was out of bounds. So that's just a little slow and sloppy and not really inspiring football by St Kilda. They trail by 38 points. They did trail by 33 this time last week against West Coast and came back and won.
I just noticed the umpire go up to Tom Lynch and just ask if he was okay. The doctors are trying to get out there, so I think there's a bit of a concern around a concussion here.
Tigers through quick hands, work it out of the stoppage. Graham's ball inside the 50 and the fly from Jack Rewaltz in the pack. He takes the commanding aerial mark. He's 35 metres from goal. That is a cracker. He got the first bite when he was airborne, the second when he hit the ground. It was jumping Jack Sash, and he's going to shoot for goal from just to the right of centre.
Now, El, can I just ask you this question? When you use your boot, that's free kick's gone out the road, gone now?
It's a reasonable point, Mick. Rewalt's kick is his second goal. 6 in a row for the Tigers. Very much danger signs for St Kilda. A blowout on the cards at the Docklands. 11-7-73. Plays 4-5-29 at the 10-minute mark of the third quarter.
Mick, it's a good point you make because on replay,
he's used his boot.
That was...
Well, remember after Toby Green, they
style.
changed it and they said that it's up to the umpire's discretion.
Wow.
We've seen it a few times already this year where they've let it go.
It was certainly the studs up. Now, if the player was coming back into it, he would have worn a boot in the face, but it was specky top. It was definitely the foot in the back.
Yeah, foot and push. But so I just don't get umpire's discretion. It's either a free kick or it's not. And I wouldn't care. I would say no. It's been part of the game for a long time. But if it's a free kick, it's a free kick.
Toby Green's taken out of his game, hasn't he? Touch wood so far. Richmond by 44. Peeled off 6 consecutive goals. And they're going to win a free kick out of the centre here as well. And it'll go to Edwards. All the usual suspects lifting for the Tigers. So from right in the bullseye, Edwards kicks it straight. He's looking for jumping Jack again. But this time well marked by Battle, who read it best in the pack. Kicks sideways. McKenzie and then comes back to Caulfield.
So it's okay to go sideways, but your next kick is the one that counts most. And the Saints get locked off by a very good, disciplined Richmond who cover the ground so well. The Saints are going to go through the corridor and use it quickly to put pressure back on the Tigers.
So Howard instead was looking for Steele out wide on the wing. Swooping Hooley, he steals it. Bolter felt it coming, slapped it forward, was so clever to Graham. And Graham tries to hit up a teammate inside 50. Arts gets down low. Is it paid? It's like cricket when they get down low and claim the catch. Arts claimed the mark. He had to really lift it off his bootlaces. But the umpire said, nah, I'm not having any of that. It'll be a ball up. 40 metres out. Richmond presenting, Richmond hungry, Richmond dominating. Lynch to Lambert, who handballs it over, which was so clever, to Bolton, and almost kicked, but it was smothered. They love that volleyball slap on, don't they? And Lambert saw it coming. And
You know what's happening in this box? He's waiting for you to say, "See, I told you so." This is you just you've picked your moments. Come on, Lingy.
Not yet, Mick. Not yet. Building towards it, though, the way that they were sniffing out a goal there, the Richmond forwards.
Long kick down the middle from Battle all the way to the circle, and Membry's up in front. This will be 50 metres against that curve. He was dragged down after he marked, and the umpire has not paid 50.
That's dreadful.
And it slowed everything up.
Membry out wide to Crouch. Marks on the AFL logo, dock side of the ground. Crouch has not had the night he would have liked. Gets in a bind as well. He's tackled by Arts after playing on. McKenzie runs into Arts. High tackle, front on contact. Crouch looked like a player in complete inertia. Did not know what to do.
Well, one of the reasons why I said early in the season why they get Crouch is beyond me, because he plays like a crab. He goes sideways, and Saints need people to go forward.
McKenzie to Howard, into the middle to Caulfield. He's near centre half back. St Kilda has lost all run, all dare, all fluid movement. Short pass to Loney. Richmond leading by 45 points. Loney kicks to half forward. Membry pushed under the ball. A free kick to the Saints.
so Membry's too far out to score, even though he has got that thumping kick. He's got it on the City side at half forward. He hammers that into the pocket, and there's no one home. Broad says, "I'll take that one, thank you very much."
Well, the two tall St Kilda players were holding hands. That's how close. You cannot afford to be that close. You've got to be able to separate it.
So the kick from short was smothered, and it was well done by Butler, the former Tiger. McKenzie swoop kicked it back to Butler, and he might be rewarded here for his hustle. Just that little fingertip.
Strange. Butler thought it was going the other way, and just handed it to Nathan Broad, or Broad took it. Not sure what went on there.
Instead, the umpire just comes in to clarify and says, "Butler, actually, it's your free kick."
Yeah, take the kick. You've got a shot at goal.
You've got it in the right forward pocket, and it's only 25 metres out. And you'll really have to bend it back on your left to make this work, and he does.
Very good.
And he turns to the Tigers fans and he lets them know all about it as well. Butler with his first for the night. And they break that procession of 6 in a row from the Tigers and get it back to 39 points. 5-5-35 to the Tigers, 11-8-74, and there's plenty happening on the bench. Tim Hodges.
It was really funny, Cal, just watching Tom Lynch after that heavy collision about 5 minutes ago. The last Tiger goal, the Richmond doctor went out and Tom Lynch actively ran away from him, trying to keep a distance from him. Then the doctor was back out straight after that goal was kicked, and again Tom Lynch ran off from him. So I think he just doesn't want him to get close to him to even ask him any questions, whether it might be a concussion or anything sinister like that. So the doctor just simply can't keep up with him.
Well, that would be an alarm bell going off for me. If you're running away from the doctor.
Not only that, Lingy, I've seen the umpire actually go across him again just then. Now, I wonder whether the umpires are sort of saying, I don't like what's happening at the moment.
Pickett's gone up in the middle for Richmond. May have won the tap too. Cochin gets the clearing ball out towards the wing. This is dribbling towards the boundary line. Just stays in play. McKenzie gets it for St Kilda. Off to Long. Defensive hand pass. Off to McKenzie again. He's barrelled. Taken strongly by McIntosh. There's change of boots as he does at half-time. Back to Long. Infield he finds Carlisle. On the edge of the centre square, off to Long. Long's kick to the middle's okay. Loney takes the mark. All of a sudden, a bit of vigour from St Kilda. A long kick towards Higgins inside the 50. Bolter the spoil. Higgins and Bolter at ground level. It rumbles out to Ross. Top of the 50, off to Hill. Has a fumble, punches it out towards Higgins. He's tackled, off to Ross. Ross in the pocket, kicks towards Billings. Up he goes, can't mark. It's 20 out from the Saints goal. Sinclair took it and copped a battering. Off to Loney. Left foot snap. 2 in a minute. The Saints have sprung to life. They were corpse-like prior to the last couple of minutes. 17 played third term. Richmond 11-8-74. St Kilda 6-5-41 and the margin's back to 33.
Lingy, if that's Sinclair running through the middle, that was an outstanding attack on the ball. Absolutely fearless. He's not a big man, and he hit that as hard as you want any player. He set that goal up, no question. There'd be no goal next to his name, but the Saints got the goal because of real courage. And that's the way they need to play, and that's the way they mightn't have the manpower the Tigers have got, but they've got to match or go past them as far as intensity go, and that was just a fantastic attack on the footy.
Well, listen to the Saints fans getting involved, trying to get behind their team. They trail by 33 points, but they've kicked the last two. Breaking out of the centre is Edwards. Edwards sends it in the Lynch direction. He got down low. He shook off that concussion. He shook off the doctor. And he says, my eyes are pretty good. I can mark this directly in front. What's his set shot kicking like? We're about to find out.
Well, Cal, you know what I'd like to find out is why Jake Kylo is going to get beaten by Pickett, because that's what happened. Jake should put his knee straight through it, because you're allowed to do that, and give him what a half-forward flanker should get in the ruck.
So Tom Lynch suffered a heavy head clash a couple of minutes ago with Ben Long. He's back out there though, he's staying out there, he's refusing to budge, and he's kicking it straight through the middle. Lynch has got his third. And they're back out by 39 points.
Should Tom Lynch be out there at the moment? So, got a player actively deviating away from the trainer, coming out to try and assess him.
I'm glad you asked that, Al, and I'm just floating this just for discussion, is if the doctors cannot get a player off the ground, there should be some scope to go to the umpires and say, send him off.
Yes, right.
You actually have the power to say, no, that player must leave the field to get go through the concussion
and the
protocol.
doctors would have seen the replay of the incident, so they would know whether he's had a head collision.
That's exactly right, Cal. They watched that down there. Yes, that's why they're trying to get out there to him.
Absolutely.
It was the case with Chris Mayne earlier in the season where he clearly didn't want to come off the ground. Ultimately, he had to come off the ground. He was very angry.
But if the player's not going to listen, the doctor can't physically drag him off, so there should be scope to bring the umpires in.
Well, where's the responsibility lie? Does Damien Hardwick need to get on the phone and go, get Tom Lynch off the ground?
Yes, he does. And he's got to come off the ground.
Out of the middle, here come the Tigers again. Graham to Pickett. Guess who's the target? Lynch, a one-hander, nearly the mark. In the pocket, picks up. He's tight on the boundary, feeds it to Castagna. His right foot snap, goes through. Back-to-back goals for St Kilda. Cancelled out in quick time. Richmond moves to 13-8-86. St Kilda 6-5-41 through 20 minutes of the third quarter on Grandstand AFL.
Now, can I just add that we might be reading it wrong with Tom Lynch. I'm not saying Tom Lynch is definitely doing it, but from what we're seeing up here that he is actively tried to get away from the doctors. I just think in any situation, any scenario going forth, Al, if the player won't leave the field when the doctor asks him to get checked and just go through the protocols, there just needs to be another layer that forces that player off the field. Almost just to get the thumbs up and actually say, oh yeah, no, he is fine, it's all good, go back on the field. There's something there, but quality by Richmond there, little surge by the Saints, and then just bang, bang, Richmond back in total control.
Brad Hill, no disposals again in this quarter, Mick. I'll get your thoughts on that shortly, because now it's the captain, Cochin, streaking out of the centre, kicking to half forward. Castagna was there. Hunter Clark, under all sorts of pressure, gets the handball out wide to Steele, who loops it over to Higgins, who gives it to Hill. He can take off right up against the boundary. Gets his first possession of the quarter, which is a handball. Back to Higgins. It's all hard work here for the Saints. Loney's handball, looking for Butler. But it's bunted down by Short, and Short is happy to tell Butler all about it. The former teammates, a little bit of feeling there. Richmond by 45. Brad Hill still yet to have any influence, Mick.
No, if you don't go near the ball, like even here, he's standing around, he's not being active, he's not moving.
From the stoppage, Richmond through Martin. The hand pass to Rioli, off to Edwards, caught by Steele. Ball dislodged. Saints a chance to win it back on the wing. Steele tackled Pooley got him a ball up near the AFL logo. Mick Malthouse, are there any circumstances under which Brad Hill would be a team coached by you next week based on what you've seen tonight?
He wouldn't have been in for the year, because I watched the last part of last year. He does not put in. You destroy your teammates' confidence. You destroy your teammates' confidence in your ability to pick a side. You've got to have everyone singing from the same song, and he's not doing that.
McIntosh inside the 50. Saints have got it. Clark's got a problem, but he brushed the tackle. His outlet kick. There is Hill. Stood his ground. Caught one in the back from Edwards. Didn't take the mark. Picked up by Arts. Gives to McIntosh. McIntosh, a high ball back towards full forward. Up they fly. No mark. It goes to the back of the pack and through for a minor score for Richmond. He's on a 6-year deal on big money, Mick.
I'm not worried about the money. The money,
but length of contract.
Tied
up in your salary cap.
Yeah, but that's their lookout. It's the effort that you expect. Look, as a coach, I've never got involved in how much they got, because that's not for me. It's their manager and the club what they want to pay.
What would you do with him then to try and get some value for your investment?
Well, you have to eat a little bit of humble pie by putting him in the second start this weekend. He should be there for the weeks it takes to find confidence in his run, his touch, and his ability to tackle and chase.
The kick in went to Nat Curvis, who sends it in the Lynch direction. Howard's able to mop up though. Short, sharp kick to Crouch, handballs to Higgins. Higgins doesn't like anything he sees up ahead of him, and so he kicks towards the boundary and he kicks it out of bounds on the full, and he drops his head in frustration. Mansell will take the free kick right in front of the Saints bench. Kick backwards to Short. King is the man on the mark. Kick to goal in that first quarter. Hasn't really been sighted since. It's not his fault. A Short goes long. Oh, hitting it at pace, off hands and kicking backwards. That was clever by Arts. Couldn't take the mark. Arts gets it again. This time he's dumped by Caulfield into the turf. Steele's down there. He's wearing Hooley. Rioli's got it. Curls it back. Top of the goal square. Bolton. What a leap. He flew through the air. He launched sideways and he took it cleanly in the air right at the highest point. Spectacularly.
Just a bit of sitting and watching from the Saints defenders.
And the side approach, the snapshot, he puts through, he converts, he gets his name on the score sheet, and it's the Tigers by a whopping 52 points. 14-9-93, St Kilda 6-5-41.
And Ben Long was one of the guilty parties there, just standing and waiting and watching. And Bolton just made it his own. He said, as soon as that ball went high off Daniel Rioli's boot, he just said, that's my ball. Yeah. I'm going to launch at it. I don't care if you come with me or not. I'm going to take this mark. And no St Kilda players bothered even jumping for it at all, just hoping it was going to be spilt. And Bolton wasn't going to miss that chance. He just popped it through nicely.
So the Saints
3-13 inside 50. Sorry, Al.
They have really been smacked down by Richmond tonight. And Curvis and Hunter. Tapped down by Nankervis. Bolton, a clearance, a tumble punt. Caulfield attacked it for the Saints and marked on the left half-back flank, and the umpire didn't pay it. McKenzie off to Clark, and he's still down after getting some treatment on the half-back flank. The kick goes out towards the wing. Caulfield slowly up on his knees. Took the mark, then got barreled by Arts. Didn't get paid the mark nor the free kick. Mystifying. Boundary throw-in out of side.
Yeah. Richmond by 52 at St Kilda by 1 at quarter time, and Richmond by 25 at half time. 26 minutes gone in this third term. Spins back into play. Sinclair works his way into the contest, kicks out wide, it bounces and then goes out of bounds, and that's deliberate. Oh, the St Kilda fans. They will be frothing at the mouth right now. They haven't had much go their way. And the Tigers, while St Kilda players are furiously debating it with the umpires, the Tigers have done the big horseshoe and worked its way. The Sherrin in the hands of McIntosh right in front of the dockside wing. Kicks towards Revolt. Good spoil from behind. Hunter Clark now to Long. In traffic. Back to Clark. Tackled by Rioli. Ball spills clear. Going again is Clark. This time Long applies a wonderful tackle on Arts. It breaks clear. The umpire says it was a throw. It'll be a free kick to Ben Long. who's had a bit of it across half-back since he was injected into this contest. Started as a sub, came on when Jimmy Webster injured his hamstring.
I reckon he has a go long.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He stands out.
So the Saints take the ball out wide, but it's going to have to come back.
50 metres, is it?
It's going downfield by the looks of it. What's going on here? Because Baker's just taken possession of it. He's running through the middle of the ground and kicking it out towards the broadcast wing. So it's gone from the left half-back flank on the City side to the broadcast wing near the interchange. Dunstan off to Hill. Hill kicks St Kilda inside the attacking 50. King's got 3 to beat, and Curvis in front dropped what he might have taken. Loney gets it, throws it on the boot. Butler at the back, rises, can't mark, punched through for a minus score by Bolter. Richmond's lead is 51 points at the 28-minute mark of the third.
So even that hand pass across to Hill, who then put himself under pressure and just belted into 3v1. So there's, again, no system and lack of confidence in Hill's own ability to use the ball.
The trouble is Hill is running around getting those little handballs around the back as though he's the designated kicker. Jaden Short, beautiful user, but he's not.
Lynch and Howard in a one-on-one across half forward. Martin comes in, picks up the ball, handballs to Bolton. Bolton then gives it off to Lambert. A cute little kick inboard to Rioli, who lost his footing, went down on his knees and still marked it. Well, when you're hot, and the Tigers are hot. And Dan Rioli will go back and line up for his second goal inside 50. Just a step inside the arc and barely any angle to speak of.
Talk about good ball use. Kane Lambert doesn't waste the footy. He sees the game.
So clever.
Little touch kicks, can kick it with penetration, kicks goals, does it all so well.
So Rioli was dropped last week, back in the VFL for Werribee, and 17 disposals and 6 tackles, which impressed the coach. And now he's back in the A-graders, playing like an A-grader and booting his second goal of the night. Richmond by 57 points just before three-quarter time. 15-9-99. St Kilda 6-6-42.
It's disappointing for the Saints. The way they played that second part of the first quarter was really tough and hard at it. Then they lost Webster. I thought he was playing pretty good football. Second quarter, they had their opportunities but didn't move the ball quick enough and didn't find the right targets. Missed a couple of set shots. Confidence just drained right out of them. And as that drained out of them, the Tigers seemed to lap it up and take it. And then the Tigers got running. And the Saints haven't been able to go with that run. Nor the ball-getting power of their best players. No one's dominated the scoreboard. Lynch has kicked 3 and 2 of those in the goal square. So it's been a real great team effort.
Hunter and Nankervis in the middle. Nankervis the tap down. Martin had it ricochets off his shins. Off to Edwards it goes. Gives to Martin. Martin slipped over, had time to send a left foot kick inside the 50. Over the head of Rewalt. Marshall gathers, tackle, dispossessed. Wilkie rushes it through. Didn't quite get it through. Castagna's socket missed on the left-hand side of behind of Richmond. The ton is up. 15-10-100. St Kilda 6-6-42 at the 30-minute mark of the third quarter.
Are they going to do what the Bulldogs did to North Melbourne on Good Friday? Kick 10 in the last. It's got a whiff of that about it as Long with the kick in. Goes towards King. Couldn't take it in the air. Still was fighting and scrapping on hands and knees.
It's really disappointing when you see the bloke who's going to kick the football and he's got 2 teammates 10 yards away from him, not making any ground.
Ball up Nankervis. Edwards, quick hands to Baker. Baker gave it off to Dusty Martin. Martin to Lambert. Loops it out wide to Pickett. Dusty's kept running. He wants it back. Pickett ignores that. Instead goes for the short, sharp pass to Rioli. Chopped up almost by Clark. Still the Tigers go. And he's got sight of it. Dusty Martin from about 50 metres out. He grubbers it towards the goal square. And Revalt's forced to tackle his opponent. The umpire says it'll be a ball up right on the top of the goal square, deep in that attacking 50 zone at the Lockett end, the northern end for the Tigers, where they continue to pile on the goals.
Tossed in the air. Lynch down. Arts took it. He's immediately tackled by 3 Saints. Another ball up top of the goal square. Richmond deep in attack.
Each of these forward 50 stoppages this game, they've had someone really on the fly, just bolting through. It's worked a couple of times.
Rewald's going to have a go against Hunter. Tried to take it out of the ruck, missed it, gathered it, gave a hand pass to Artsy's kick, partially smothered. Rioli gets it, perhaps tackled without it after he disposed of the ball somehow. Long comes clear through the back pocket, caught one in the chops as he got his kick downfield. And he's going to
It's going to go
away a
against
free
Long.
kick.
Yeah.
So he's fended high in the
Oh,
eye.
no, he did too, yeah.
Okay.
He took Arts. After he kicked it, he just wrapped the arm
he
round
did.
and got Arts. Silly play.
So free kick, left forward pocket, 40 metres out, hard on the boundary. And even the Saints fans are not going to argue with that one. So Arts goes back towards the boundary fence. Couple of plastic chairs to his left, security guard to his right. And a small gap between the posts as he looks at them. Comes into the field of play, kicks from 45 metres, it's across the face. Punched in, back into play by Lynch. No. Was it beyond the line? Just. The umpire's blown his whistle and it is signalled a behind. So Richmond's lead is 59 points at the 33-minute mark of the third.
Kick in from Howard finds Hill. Marking uncontested. He kicked to Ben Long, who was right on the boundary line. He was hiding there. Long, though, goes long to the pack. Nankervis is there. Membry handballs over the top. Crouch goes the fend off. It comes back to Membry. Now Long across half back. Bearing down on him was Grimes. He got him. He slung him in a 360. And the umpire says it'll be a free kick. They're still so hungry, these Tigers. They've played helter-skelter footy in this third term. And the Saints players, well, their heads are spinning. Grimes wheels around. He spotted something he likes. He goes towards Castagna, who just shot in, swooshed in, and took a mark right on the siren. And Castagna will line up for his third goal of the night.
It was a beautiful kick to Castagna, but again, the Saints defenders just standing and watching.
Standing around. That's 2 or 3 times now, as opposed to the first half where they were right into it. They just stood there, watched, glued to the ground. Castagna cut across 3 players to get to this mark.
So Castagna, 25 metres out to the northern end. Oh, straight into the post. It smashed straight into the post. But it does little to change the story of this match because it's Richmond by an even 10 goals. They lead it by 60 points at three-quarter time. 15-12-102 to St Kilda 6-6-42. The Tigers have kicked 10 of the last 12 goals. 3 to Tom Lynch, 2 to Graham, 2 to Rioli, 2 to Jack Revolt and 2 to Castagna. Singles to Bolton, Martin, Edwards and Pickett. And for the Saints, Higgins, the former Tiger, has got 2 singles to Hunter, King, Butler and Loney. It's Richmond by 60 and we've still got another 30 to play in this contest.
0437 774 774 is the Grandstand AFL SMS number if you'd like to contact the commentary box. Jared from Jerilderie in New South Wales, can the captain say something as well? I think that's in reference to whether Lynch should have come off and had a concussion test. Thanks to Jared for his text message. The Saints seem to have had a problem with consistency from week to week for far too long, says Bill. Another listener says, I'm only listening to the game. Is Hanbury playing Zach Jones? Hanbury's not going to be playing for some time with his calf. Zach Jones didn't come up. Bill is a dud. He should give his money back. Gee, the Saints have recruited badly. Oh, I forgot the bloke from the Crows. Crouch, exclamation marks. Hasn't had a big night, Crouch. And Brad Hill has had a very disappointing one. 15-12-102 Richmond, St Kilda 6-6-42 at three-quarter time. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
ABC Sport on Social is your sports conversation on the go. Video, player insight and analysis. This is the content you never knew you needed. Get ABC Sport wherever you scroll. When history is made.
It's all over. India have won. India have won magnificently.
ABC Sport is there.
He's over the halfway line. Mansour coming. Game, set, bingo. Premiership.
Commercial free.
The Tigers are still the best team in the land.
on radio, online and on the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Long gets a hold of it. Broke 2 tackles, 4 hand pass though. Straight to Rewell, off the mark, walks his way through the traffic, goes back for goal. And whatever they pay him, there's bang for buck. Dustin Martin, deadly.
Long and Lynch might have clashed heads. They're both up. I just noticed the umpire go up to Tom Lynch and just ask if he was okay. The doctors are trying to get out there, so I think there's a bit of a concern around a concussion here.
Graham's ball inside the 50, and the fly from Jack Rewell. In the pack, he takes the commanding aerial mark. He's 35 metres from goal. It was jumping Jack Sash, and he's going to shoot for goal from just to the right of centre. Rewell's kick is his second goal. 6 in a row for the Tigers. Sinclair took it and copped the battering off the Loney. Left foot snap. 2 in a minute. The Saints have sprung to life.
Breaking out of the centre is Edwards. Edwards sends it in the Lynch direction. He got down low. Shook off that concussion. He shook off
moments in this third quarter for the Crows. Adelaide by...
So Tom Lynch suffered a heavy head clash a couple of minutes ago with Ben Long. Staying out there, he's refusing to budge, and he's kicking it straight through the middle. Rioli's got it, curls it back, top of the goal square. Bolton! What a leap! He flew through the air. He launched sideways, and he took it cleanly in the air, right at the highest point, spectacularly. And the side approach, the snapshot, he puts through, he converts.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
3/4 time at Docklands. Thursday night football. Richmond 15-12, 102. St Kilda 6-6, 42. Richmond with 7 goals, 6 to 1 goal, 1 in the third quarter. In the NRL tonight, the upset is still a potential for the Brisbane Broncos. 12 points apiece against the Penrith Panthers. The Panthers undefeated this season. The Broncos have won only 1 game in the NRL. 12 points apiece with 8 minutes to play at Lang Park in Brisbane. Reminding you, the Sheffield Shield resumes tomorrow, day 2 at Allan Border Field in Brisbane. ABC Grandstand Cricket has the call available to you via the ABC Listen app, live and commercial free, ball by ball with Jim Maxwell, Quentin Hull and the team. New South Wales 143 dismissed today, with Noosa picking up 5 wickets and Wildermuth 4. Queensland in reply 1 for 58. At 3/4 time, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling going to offer their thoughts on Richmond's commanding performance.
It was a commanding performance, and you just got to simply look at the inside 50s to understand exactly how dominant it was. 47 inside 50s to Richmond, 26 for St Kilda. So thinking Max King and how exciting he is and all of that in that St Kilda forward line, well, if in 3/4 of footy you're only going to get the ball in somewhere near him 26 times, doesn't matter how good he might be as a kid, as a potential, you're not going to do much there. And Richmond just kept it coming in there. They just swarmed all over them, got the ball inside forward 50 time and time again, and the cream rose to the top. Dusty's had 24 touches, kicked a goal. Shane Edwards had 24s, kicked a goal. Shea Bolton's had 20 and kicked a goal. So that sort of class and quality, running midfield type players. They find the footy and they hit the scoreboard.
Can't argue, Lee.
Final term underway on Grandstand AFL. Martin, a hand pass out of the middle to Nankervis. He gave it back to Martin at his bootlace as he tried to socker. McIntosh got it almost ridden in the back. Came out to Martin again, a hand pass to Graham. He's caught by Billings, just got boots of ball towards the wing. Long back with the flight marked about a 9.5 metre kick. He's going to have it defensive side of the City wing. He kicks towards half forward. That kick just hangs in the air, not well placed for Membrick. And it's over the back and over the boundary at right half forward for the Saints.
I know that Long there's a couple of things that's happened today that hasn't looked good, but I don't think you'd ever die wondering that he's going to have a crack for you, and that kick may have gone over the head, but I thought it was a good defensive play by the Richmond player to push Membrick under the ball. I'd persist with Long.
Spinning back in, Nankervis, a little toe poke from Edwards. Picked up by Castagna, and then he claimed he was held. fires out the handball, misses Edwards. Castagna still goes in pretty hard. Now Cochin, little toe poke on the outside of the boot. It falls the way of the Saints through Stewell and Long, who handballs to Billings, who goes back to Crouch. All on the City side wing, high ball. King flies. Oh, he just about took out a teammate as he did. Jumping on the end of it, though, was Sinclair. Saw a Tigers player coming, handballed out wide to Hunter Clark, but it's stolen by Lambert. And they can torch them on the turnover here, the Tigers. His kick wide was to Castagna. Long just tries to hold him up. Castagna on the City wing. Hammers it out in front of Revolt. And he got a bit of yardage on his man in battle and took an uncontested mark on the end of a long lead just outside 50, right a step or two in from the boundary line.
Well, he had that much room to move into. Saints was so slow in transition. And that's what you get when you have a slow midfield.
So Jack Revolt, does he have 53 metres in his right leg? He runs around the man on the mark to open it up right on 50. On the goal line, it was touched. It was touched by Hunter, who was doing his job back there. Paul Hunter came in at the last minute for Rowan Marshall. He snapped his plantar fascia last week against Essendon. West Coast, rather.
Makes the plantar fascia actually better, strangely.
Yeah.
Remember the Robert Harvey story? Jumped off a kitchen table time and time again till he snapped it.
Ouch.
Yeah. So he'll probably only miss, this week on the basis of that, Lingy, Rowan Marshall?
I would say so, yes.
Now the ball's in a mess on the wing. St Kilda through quick hands. Clark to Hill. Hill is cornered. He's felt cornered all night, really. Dragged down, the ball up at right half forward for Richmond.
I just hope when he gets up, he counts his fingers, toes and sees he's got 2 legs and 2 arms. They're still stuck to his body. He's not going to get damaged if he goes hard.
Now Curvis the tap down, Edwards pursues it, Ross pursues him, Edwards takes possession, hand pass over his head, sliding in goes Caulfield. His little hand pass to Ross. Ross to Sinclair at left half back for the Saints. Kicks to the wing, Bolter peels off, he runs into Broad. Broad drops the chest mark. Higgins has got an army of Tigers to beat. Knocked it out. Butler tackled, dragged down by Pickett. Mansell almost got in his back. Got it out to Martin. Quick hands to Hawley. Quick hands to Bolter. Wobbly kick to half forward. Up goes Edwards. Can't mark. Brings it to ground. Nat Curvis gets it. His turn to be tackled. Wilkie drives him into the turf. A ball up. Attacking side of the wing for Richmond. Dock side. 15-13, 103 the Tigers. The Saints 6-6-42 at the 4-minute mark of the last quarter.
Still wait to see a goal in this term as Martin zigzags his way through traffic. Goes the underground handball. It missed the intended target in Graham. Picked off there by Clark. And quick hands. Still's got it. Going to ground was Billings. He got it. He lost it. He went to ground. He slipped over and Hawley's able to get it. Hawley sends it to centre half forward where Revolt rises high. Couldn't take it. Castagna with a little flick up to Revolt, who kicks to Lynch in the pocket. Went over his head and dribble over the boundary line.
And just to clear that up, Tom Lynch obviously would have got checked out for the concussion at 3/4 time and clearly okay. So the discussion we were having in that third quarter is more around what if a player has been concussed.
And also the fact that he was running away clearly from the trainer, from the doctors.
That's a very shallow throw in. Lynch nearly ran onto it. Clark goes through for the Saints. And he's caught holding the ball. It was just a handling error. He got tackled, mishandled the ball.
That's not a free
And
kick.
it was barely a tackle from Jack Rewald either.
That is very, very poor umpiring.
Directly in front, Jack Rewald should make the most of this opportunity gifted to him. He's 20 metres out directly in front.
There's been a bit happening off the ball between Tom Lynch and Hunter Clark tonight.
Jack's got 2. The Richmond Army at the Frawley end. Waits. Take in a breath of oxygen and roar for more. A serious drubbing now being inflicted upon the Saints. 16-13, 109 Richmond. St Kilda 6-6-42, 5 played of the final quarter, but that seemed very stiff on St Kilda.
It did, Al. I agree with what all of you were saying. He barely took possession, and I think it was just a bit of a fumble as contact was made. And the umpire, I reckon, initially did call play on, and then thought, oh, hang on, that might have been a tackle and might have been incorrect disposal and paid the free kick. Jack Riewoldt doesn't care. He's got his 3 goals. It's up to 15 goals.
Yeah, if that was all over the ground though, Lingy, I mean, that type of play happened in front of us here. It was one thing about where we are, for those people that are at home, we are right above the wing here, and that play, there's a big bit of play in front of us. The heavy hitting of the bodies is outstanding. That bit of play happened 4 or 5 times. The ball spilled out.
Margin is 67. Still a long way to go in this game. Bolton wins it off the hand of the ruck and then gives it to Martin. Tackled by a couple. He stands up in that tackle, gives it back to Short, and then Short to Mansell. Got his kick away just in time. Oh, what about the take by Lambert? Fires off the handball to Bolton, who's running at speed. Bounced once, got around 1, got around 2. To the standing Castagna, who kicked out wide, looking for Riewoldt. Battle takes it.
So even then, Battle took that mark. Why didn't he go play on? And that leaves Jack Riewoldt 10 yards behind him, and Richmond struggling then to cover that quick play.
Battle Short to Wilkie by foot. He goes Short to Billings by foot. All predictable here for St Kilda. Long down the line. No one can take the mark. Off hands they fight and scrap. Now Graham fires out the handball, can release the runner Bolton. Drew the defender, looped it over to Lambert, who pokes it short to Lynch. Caught one in the back and he goes to ground. And it was Howard that got him and then held it in. It'll be a ball up at centre half forward for the Tigers.
I tell you what, Mick, Jack Riewoldt is sniffing a bag, and Tom Lynch is thinking, I'm going to get involved in this as well, because there is so much space in that Richmond forward line.
Nankervis only as far as Sinclair. Toe poke, goes the poke up to Grimes, slides in. Martin, little wriggle of the hips, gets rid of a couple of Saints. And then an awkward one, a tumbler, a wobbler. Riewoldt tried to flick it back to himself. Well done by Caulfield. He beats Riewoldt and Rioli to it, and then loops it over to Battle, who wedged the kick to Steele.
Steele on the left half-back flank has had a significant night again, coming up for possession, number 22. Kicks to the wing. King and Grimes. Grimes in the pack. A 2 grab mark. King started so brightly, but since about the midway mark of the second quarter, Richmond has completely owned the game. Through Mansell, who kicks towards left half-back. Richmond work it forward. Baker to the wing. Lambert marks. A tireless worker. A one-touch player. Someone you'd love in your jumper. Kicks towards half-forward. Lynch couldn't mark. Castagna rove. Tackle. Got a hand pass out top of the 50 now. Curvis gave it straight to Clark, who goes out wide to right half-back. Marks taken by Dunstan. 16-13, 109 Richmond. St Kilda 6-6, 42. 9 played of the last quarter.
They've kicked 11 of the last 13 goals.
And this is just total preservation mode for St Kilda. And you can't blame them. You're playing against a quality team who are just all over you. They don't want it to blow out any further than what it is.
Working the angles by foot. This is Hunter Clark, who's coming up for possession, number 29. Ball has been in his area for a lot of the night as he plays across half-back. Caulfield got one high. He'll come back for a free, just on the defensive side of that centre circle. He goes short with the kick. It was a little casual, but it eventually got to Bytel, who handball was sloppy to Battle, back to Bytel. It's not pretty by the Saints. Pushing the back there for Higgins. Does he win a free? He does. And it's not going to be play on advantage. It'll come back to Higgins. So he's got it just inside that centre square. He dabs it short to Bradley Hill. Marks uncontested. 60-70 out. Short, casual again with his kick. Hill was poor. He's had a bad night. It's Short that kicks long down the line. Martin wanted it to bounce back onto him, but instead it bounced and trickled away from him. It'll be a boundary throw in just in front of the Tigers bench.
They've got to realise, stop giving the ball to Bradley Hill so he's the kicker.
Yeah.
He's not a good enough kicker or a decision maker with kicking.
He's disinterested. He does not look like he wants to be there.
Thrown in, Nankervis is tapped down to Bolton. Dink kick to Martin. Possession number 32, taken on the wing. Low kick, missed the target. Don't say that too often. Picked up on the back point of the square by McKenzie. Has a bounce. Bolton goes with him, harasses him. Desperate to the last. Even when in a powerful position. Off to Sinclair. He almost turns it over back into the middle. Lambert a spoil away from Clark. Richmond wins it, of course. Graham's kick for Castagna. Misdirected. Wilkie intercepts for the Saints, goes short to Sinclair. Left half back for the Saints. Richmond by 67.
Lucky for Wilkie. Wilkie's been pretty positive, and the way he played last year and again this year, he's been a real bonus for the Saints.
Seamus on the SMS in Eagle Hawk, sending strength to 50-year St Kilda members Peter and Trudy Holden in Sailors Gully. It's got to, that almost feels like sending condolences in a way.
Membry marks on the dockside wing, brings it back inboard to Vitell. Now he just drives it. He's looking for back there Higgins, but he's got Hawley for company, who thumps it clear and bobbles around and bounces off the boot of Billings and over the boundary line. So boundary throw in here for St Kilda. 10 minutes to play in this ball game. It's Richmond by 67 points, and you can just feel the Tigers just want to put their foot down. They want to go full throttle in this final term, as the Saints just battle to keep their head above water. Mansell kicks long out of the defensive 50. Billings is able to chop it off. And they snare one or two late here. Billings says, I'm going long. And he does just that. Straight to Asprey, who couldn't take the mark because of the pressure closing in late. And then taken high. It'll be a free kick here for St Kilda. Membry tried to charge through. He had a teammate right alongside him, and he'll win the free kick.
Yeah, Pickett, I reckon it was, just came over the top. The second part of the tackle got Membry high.
So Loney.
Yeah.
Squished in at the bottom of that pack, stole it out of Membry's hands, and Loney 20 metres out, off a step or two on the left, and he is a sharp shooter, and he puts that through. Consolation prize here for St Kilda, and it's back to a 61-point ball game. St Kilda with their 7th goal of the night, Loney with his 2nd, 7-6-48, Richmond 16-13, 109. It's almost the halfway mark of the final term.
Well, so much, just a couple of little points for the Saints. Every time that Dusty Martin goes forward, I think Wilkie's been picking him up. I've just been trying to get a bit of a hold on that. I think he can hold his head very high. He's been a real plus for them. I like the way he goes about it. I love the way he uses the football. If I could add on, when he's got it, if he could, instead of waiting for his teammates, just go, because he's got that beautiful left foot, but he's been really impressive. I think King's tried his heart out. He's coming a long way up the ground now to get the ball, but he's only a young pellet, and of course they jump all over him. So there's a couple of positives.
Pickett in the ruck again against Carlisle. Cochin takes it, gives to Martin. Martin racking them up. A tumble punt inside the 50. Good mark in the pack from Battle.
I like him down back too,
yes.
Mick.
He's another one.
Battle kicks to the wing. Sinclair rises back with a flight. Baker in number 7 as Mick Malthouse grins from ear to ear. Back with a flight, took a strong mark. Courageous. Off to Short. Short's high ball inside the 50 for Richmond. Lynch and Rewalt fly at the same ball. They both want a bag, Lingy. Out of bounds it goes, right forward pocket for the Tigers.
They've got the 3 each, and Battle is going to walk away from tonight, and maybe he's had 3 kicked against him, maybe ends up with 4 or 5. I don't think that's on him either.
No,
the amount of space in that forward line, I think he's a positive. I think Howard's a positive. I think they've got the elements of a good team, but it's just not all there yet.
Carlisle takes it out of the ruck and kicks around the corner where Dunstan marks. There's a late inclusion. No Zach Jones out there tonight. No Rowan Marshall either.
Now there's a beautiful left footer who can't kick the footy.
Yep. He's kicked sideways to Caulfield, and then they've gone back to Battle.
And that's very rare, Mick, that left footers can't kick the footy perfectly.
Well, he's one of them.
Oh dear. Smothered. Kicked into the man of the mark. Baker pounces and gives it to Rewalt, who was all by himself. 40 metres out, directly in front. This is all too easy for Richmond.
Well, and why is Tom Lynch on the mark?
No, so Wilkie, Howard and Battle would be standing there going, okay, now Lynch is going to, Rewalt's going to kick 4 if he kicks this. Lynch is going to kick 3. But that was pretty sloppy garbage there from St Kilda. Dunstan couldn't hit a target 12 metres away. And then there's a smothered kick and turnover, and here, have a shot at goal.
So Jack Rewalt lining up for his 4th of the night. They're rubbing their noses in it now. And at the 6-minute mark of this match, Cameron Ling declared this is going to be an absolute smashing for St Kilda. Well, stand up, Cameron Ling. That's why Grandstand AFL loves you. That's why you're our favourite here. The man who can see into the future, because you declared that it'll be a smashing, and the margin is 67 points. Richmond leads 17-13, 115 to St Kilda 7-6-48. And Lingy, when you declared that, it was 2-0.
I appreciate the pump up, Cal. The only trouble is I'm usually only right once a year, so that's me done. Mick, I'm going to need you for the rest of the year.
Well, you need to pick up your little bits and pieces of my humour, because I said when Lynch was on the mark, he didn't want Jack to kick another goal. So that's why I said Lynch was on the mark.
Lingy's just about done the mic drop. There's one moment for the year.
In an early minute.
We're expecting a lot more moments from you, Cameron Ling, just quietly. We don't just get one a year. Come on, out of the middle. Ross kicks to half forward. Marked by Loney. Open forward line for the Saints. Rare occasion, we've seen that. King goes up, broad the spoil. King still goes after it with Asprey. Tigers will win it at ground level. Bolton knocked it out towards Asprey. His ball towards Hawley. And he's taken it out of play. Left half forward for the Saints. Tim Hodges downstairs.
Guys, just watching Jack Steele, the co-captain at the Saints, his head in his hand here on the bench. Just a shattered skipper. 2 weeks ago, he was facing the media on the Monday when they were in crisis meetings after the horrible Easter loss to Essendon. And it's amazing. 2 weeks back, 2 weeks on, they're going to be in the exact same position. It was a great comeback last week against the Eagles. It was a miracle, really, and now they're right back in the mess.
He said in The Age this morning, Hodgie, that he feels the losses more than anyone, he thinks. So you can see with that body language down there, the number 9 in the Saints Guernsey on the bench. Inside 50 here for St Kilda. Hawley just picks it up with ease, gives it off to McIntosh, who kicks to a one-on-one on the wing here. Lynch and Howard coming in and helping out was Castagna. Tried to flick it back to Lynch, but a couple of Saints legs get in the way, and it bounces off their legs and over the boundary line.
Yeah, well, he can hold his head high, the captain. He's been outstanding. Well, he's been outstanding since he's turned up at the football club. But you can understand, they played in the finals last year. There's no guarantee after tonight.
23 disposals for Jack Steele. Still sitting on the bench as Bolton takes it on the wing. Gets around a tackle. High ball to a one-on-one. It was Castagna v Wilkie. It bounced over both their heads, charging through his hearts. It sits beautifully for him, and he curls the pass into the pocket. Revolt sniffs 5.
Again, and I don't want to feel like I'm picking on St Kilda too much, but 3 St Kilda players watch Arts rip through and demand and make that footy his own, and it was Seb Ross, experienced players, just there go through.
But go back one step further, and Bolton got through 3 tackles.
Revolt just outside the boundary in the right forward pocket. Curls that to perfection. He buries it from the pocket, and Jack's got a handful. And Richmond with their highest score of the year so far. 18-13, 121. St Kilda 7-6-48 with 6 minutes to play.
And there is so much space in that forward line because of what's happening around the ball. Is Richmond want it more, they're harder and they're going through, and then they're so clean that once they do break through that initial bit of the congestion through sheer will, it's then just bang, 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 it's out. And Jack Riewoldt, Tom Lynch, they know it, they sense it, all the Richmond forwards do. Just get it into them as quick as you can. There is so much space up there. It's been an impressive performance by Richmond all night. They've come with a hard edge, highly skilled, and they've just executed perfectly.
3-1 in this final term. Revolt has all 3 for the Tigers.
Hunter wins it down in the middle. Crouch tackled off it. Martin another possession off to Edwards, off to Bolton. Bolton kicks inside the 50. Now Curvis the target this time. Caulfield peels off at the back and takes the mark. He goes to the back pocket. Long, short to Ross. Ross on defensive 50. Long came in as the medical sub in the second quarter after a groin injury to Jimmy Webster. Ross to the wing, pick it up, spoiled away from Higgins, rove by Bolton near the interchange, hand pass to Baker, Baker infield, didn't hit a target, Crouch gets it, he's tackled, off to Higgins, off to Clark, he's caught, Baker's got him, holding the ball. The classic example of tenacity. Free kick, Richmond on the wing. Graham's going to get the free. I thought Baker was going to win it for holding. Oh, it hasn't been returned quickly enough. Hunter Clark's given away a 50-metre penalty.
Well, I don't think it was his fault. I really don't think it was his fault. I thought Jack Higgins was just wanting to be on the mark, and why he didn't leave and let Clark give the football back, that was just a under 13 mistake more by Higgins than I think by Clark.
So Jack Graham, already with 2 to his name tonight. Kicked 3 in that grand final in 2017, and just his 5th game. For Richmond's 19th goal, this is a pounding. A 79-point lead to Richmond. 19-13, 127 to 7-6-48 at the 21-minute mark of the last quarter. Mark in Canberra wants to know on the SMS, can the Tigers knock in 20 goals? Used to be pretty common in the 80s and 90s. I think they're every chance, Mark.
They certainly are, and it's been something about the way Richmond have approached tonight's game. With that hardness, with that ferocity in their pressure, with the crispness of their ball use too, Mick. I haven't seen all season, as good as they were against Carlton in round 1, just so clean with the way they're moving the ball and transferring the ball.
You're right, because they're not really renowned for the precision of their kicking, but tonight it has just been outstanding. They've had a bit more space, mind you.
Yeah.
But they just seem to be quicker, bigger, stronger, certainly more determined.
Bounce down in the centre, St Kilda through Crouch. They're going backwards, but they've got possession. Billings and then Hunter Clark racking up the possessions out wide. A Still on the City side where Still's got it.
That's the trouble. See, Kilda just had 4 possessions and they're on the wing.
32,056 in their house tonight, or a lot of them are St Kilda fans, and a lot of them have gone. They have all left early here. It's just the Tigers fans left that are waiting to celebrate and soak up the song, soak up the atmosphere. They don't play too often here, the Tigers, under the closed roof. Towards Revolt, Martin on the wing is brought down by Battle. Hunter Clark charges through, handballs off to Caulfield, to Battle, to the standing. And Bytel, who was almost taken down, now to half forward. Butler, he can't control it. Neither can Baker. Now Asprey out wide to Rioli. Across half back, the Tigers can move it. With the sit is Revolt. Good spoil from behind by Ross. Oh, handball over his head. Shane Edwards, get out of town to Bolton, who loops it over to Arts, who marks. And he'll go back and have a set shot.
Castagna just trying to sneak down and pinch himself one, but no chance there.
They have reached deep into the party tricks bag as Shane Edwards with just the handball over his head across half forward. And now a chance for Arts to become the 10th individual goal kicker for Richmond. They haven't kicked this high score all the way back. It'd have to go to 2019. With the shortened quarters, they did not kick this much last year. For their 20th goal of the night. And the Tigers fans that have stuck around, the yellow and black army, the cheer squad behind the goals, all go up in unison. They are enjoying this one. 20 majors for the Richmond Football Club tonight. 2013, 133. St Kilda 7-6-48. It's a massive margin of 85 points. And of the 32,000 that were in under the closed roof tonight, probably about 15,000 left.
Hey, don't you feel for Brett Ratton that's put his heart and soul right into this, weathered the storm over the Essendon one, got them back up against the West Coast, albeit the last sort of quarter and a half, and loses Marshall, who was very good last week, loses someone else dropped out before the game.
Jones.
Exactly.
And
no rider.
And they just look a shadow of what they were last week and last year.
Well, they're missing 6 of their best, you'd have to say.
And they are.
Yeah.
They are. And tell me, you guys would have done this game. Saints belted the hell out of Richmond in the premiership year. Was that 2017? Was that 17?
Yes.
They did.
Goal.
Yep.
67
82.
points.
I reckon it was 82 points here.
Yeah.
And that was 12 games before they won their premiership, their first one.
Yep.
Ball's out on the wing here with Arts, the last goal kicker, taking possession, tackled by Long, got a hand pass away. McIntosh kicks Richmond to half forward. Sinclair stands his ground in front and takes the mark on defensive 50 for St Kilda.
No, I can live with Sinclair.
Billings.
Here's a crack.
And Billings out wide to the City wing.
The trouble is, St Kilda have got 7 players who've played 100 games or more. Their most experienced player from games is Bradley Hill, who we've spoken about has not been a leader in any area tonight. And then you go to Richmond and you've got, I think, 12 who've played over 100, and you've got multiple 200 gamers, just stronger, more mature.
Steele went to the wing, Richmond won it back. Bolton, a brilliant tap. Rewald's kick intercepted. Unselfishly went for Nankervis. McKenzie got in the road. Jack could have had the shot from 45 out on the fly. He's got his handful, he's happy. He's being unselfish now.
He's just trying to get into the team meeting on Monday saying, look, I did give one off.
Just to put this in perspective, so the last time St Kilda suffered a defeat this heavy to Richmond, it was 1985. And St Kilda had, through the mid-80s, were in terrible trouble and won the Wooden Spoon in 85. Only won, I think, 3 games that year. This is a very different vibe around St Kilda in season 2021. The
in the box seat, underneath the ball, but just stiff-armed him out of the way. And
the St Kilda dream to a degree.
Yeah, they've monstered them. They've mauled them this evening, the Tigers. Back to their premiership winning best. Just utterly dominant and relentless as well. I mean, there's 1 minute and 11 seconds left in this match, and yet their tackling and their pressure is the same as it is in the opening minute of the match.
Yeah, you're spot on. They've obviously had a touch-up. Their pride's been dented a bit over the last couple of weeks.
Pickett in the ruck. Launched himself up over Hunter, but at ground level it's the Saints. Dunstan handballing to Hunter Clark. Puts it out in front of Bytel. Couldn't take the mark. Jumping on it is Baker. Gives it off to Edwards. Edwards kicks it to Lambert. There's still time maybe for a last one. Nankervis marks right on the 50. Wheels around on his left. And Jack's going to have a set shot for 6 in Matty's match. He wears his heart on his sleeve, Jack Revolt.
You could be forgiven if you're a St Kilda defender just asking for a little bit of help from your midfield, a little bit of defensive transition to get back and plug up a hole. Because Jack Rewald has had so many different leading lanes to work into all night. He's had his pick of where he's wanted to run in that forward line.
Just outside 50. Slide angle, Jack Revolt. He's kicked 3 already in the final term. Sends it on its way and it's missing to the right. Looks up to the heavens. She's a little disappointed with that one.
21 more shots. Tells you a lot about the game, doesn't it? 21 more shots.
And 86 points is the margin.
From defence, the kick in will be the last act of the night. The established put the emerging firmly back in their place. Richmond gives St Kilda the don't argue. A huge win for the Tigers in Matty's match. Jack Rewalt, kick 5.
With a grin, risking head and shin. If we're behind, then never mind. We'll fight and win, for we're from Tigerland. We never weaken till the final siren's gone. Like the tiger of old, we're strong and we're bold, for we're from Tigerland. Yeah, we're from Tigerland.
St Kilda was strugglers, not dreamers, the last time they were beaten so heavily by Richmond back in 1985. 2021 was a season in which the Saints were expected to rise up, maybe even challenge, but they have been destroyed. 2014, 134 to 7-6, 48. The Tigers huge winners by a margin of 86 points in front of 32,056 at the Docklands. Richmond goes 3-2.
We're from Tigerland, a fighting fury, we're from Tigerland. In any weather you will see us with a grin, risking head and shin. If we're behind, then never mind, we'll fight and win, for we're from Tigerland. We never weaken till the final siren's gone.
Richmond by 86 points, 2014, 134 to St Kilda, 7-6-48. St Kilda led the game at quarter time by a point. Richmond with 5 goals to 1 in the second, led by 25 points at half time, by 60 points at three-quarter time. And the Tigers win by 86, looking in highly ominous form. Rewalt 5 to take his season tally to 17. 3 goals to Lynch, 3 goals to Graham, 2 goals to Rioli, 2 goals to Castagna, singles to Martin, who had a mountain of possession, 34 disposals for Dustin Martin. A goal to Edwards, a goal to Arts, a goal to Bolton, a goal to Pickett, and also a couple of goals to Daniel Rioli on return for Richmond. For St Kilda, 2 goals to Higgins, the former Tiger, 2 goals to Loney, a goal to King, and the first AFL goal for Paul Hunter. 2014, 134 to 7-6-48. We'll get you into the Richmond rooms. We'll hear the song and we'll get an interview for you as well after the Tigers claim their 3rd win of the season. Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse with their assessments on Richmond's smashing of St Kilda.
What that struck me as, Mick, was a team that was a champion team, as in Richmond, who've won the last 2 premierships and still, I believe, the best team in it. Angry at themselves with the way they've played the last 2 weeks. Got back to some better football last week and nearly had a really good win against Port Adelaide, but still eventually lost the game. Just the way they started, the way they went about everything tonight was sharp, it was ruthless, it was physical, it was relentless with their pressure. I think Kelly mentioned even late in the last quarter, they were still harassing and tackling and going after. So it was the best team in it for the last few years with that edge to their game and to their own personal performance against a St Kilda team who I still think, I almost feel outperformed their expectations last year. Now have lost a few key players, which is just made vulnerable a little bit some of their depth. And Richmond, as I said, so hungry tonight, just were able to absolutely expose those vulnerabilities and just rip them apart. You would have sensed it in some of your great teams, just when they've won premierships, they've been at the very top, then maybe they have little lulls throughout a season, but there's just a week where they go, okay, enough's enough.
Yep.
Let's get back to playing our absolute best footy.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it's linking you spot on. I mean, and you've played far more premierships than the average player, and you understand, of course, that there's a lot of pride at stake, and the higher the pride or that intensity of the pride is generally the Roger Federers, the Steve Smiths, if you like, the people that are at their peak of their game and they never accept being anything but because they've got the pride in their performances. So this particular case, of course, they've been challenged over the last couple of weeks. They could have pinched the game last week, and that was at Port, and Port were fantastic. The thing about them that I like about the Tigers is they can lose a couple of players, like Boston is not in that side, but they can bring a player in and he just fits in hand in glove and has the same intensity and forces the coach to go, well, when Boston comes back, who goes out? Not the player that's necessarily replaced him. And they weren't scared to drop Rioli.
No, and he came back the better for it tonight.
There's got Caddy out of the side who's been dropped. So, like, and Arts is sort of the player over the last couple of seasons who's probably taken Caddy's spot in many respects, or thereabouts anyway.
And it felt like some of those players who, terrific footballers, had a greater clarity about what their role was. And almost Damien Hardwick would have said, hey, pull your head in, get back to what I need you to do. Baker was outstanding tonight. Jack Graham, who's been really good all year, but outstanding tonight. Daniel Rioli knew what his role was. Castagna was chasing and hassling and doing everything. And so a great understanding of, okay, great, you've drifted for a couple of weeks, back to what you do best.
Yeah, and you know, just add on a couple of numbers. Look, as you said about, say, Bolton, look, he's a classical player. When he's hot, he's hot. But there's going to come a point, and the point's starting to approach it because he's now an experienced player. But early days he was hot and he was cold. He's probably of the knowledge now that he needs to be relatively close to his standard every week because there's someone breathing down my neck. Now, I don't think their list, if you go through their whole list, you're going to find it'll fall away dramatically at the back end. But the 27th, 28th player can be the 22nd and the 21st player, very simply in this side, because they fit into the system. And that's the thing that look, we're going to praise up the Saints we're going to praise up the Tigers all the time. I've got to be really brutal here. I've got a real soft spot for the Saints. I started my career there, and I really do. I really like the club. But for the life of me, why has it been since 1966? That's the only premiership they've won, and they got close a couple of times, and they got close, like whatever, but nonetheless they haven't won, and the consistency of being around the top. I read something during the week, and it was just amazed me that Selwood has only been out of the finals once in his whole career, 1 year. Now that's the Cats. Good recruiting, great recruiting. When you're on top of the ladder, yes, and I know they bring a lot of players back through the free agency and that sort of stuff, but they still have enough kids coming through and challenging, like Clark last week. That run virtually was just showed how much they need a bit of pace like that. But when I look at the Saints, because someone jumps up and we've got room in our salary cap, I'm not going to go and blame Crouch for being a St Kilda player. But why would you look at that and go, well, we've got Seb Ross. Now, Seb's is a ball-getting player, and he's not quick, and he's not getting any better.
You're saying it's the same type of player?
Same type of player, but it's another big, they would have paid a bit for him. And again, this is not about the individual. Hanbury was injured. Everyone in the competition knew he was injured. He's now still injured. You get Bradley Hill. He's a player that plays in the third deck of the Southern Stand at the MCG. You can't get those players in at this level on this ground against the Tigers. You got to marry up your player that you're going to get with the best side. It's no use judging him against the bottom sides, because you don't play the bottom sides in finals. So can he handle the pressure of Richmond, of West Coast, of Port? And you go, maybe he can't. Well, if there's a maybe there, you go, no, you know what we're going to do? We're going to blood a kid. And all the way through, I look at this thing and I think they've got. I think the young bloke, the key back. I'm trying to think who it was, who they got.
Dougal Howard or Wilkie or Howard.
Howard's worth getting. Do you know why? Yep. Because he fell out. There's a gap there for him. He plays. Frawley, I know he's injured. I didn't think it was a bad pickup, because at the end of the day, he may well get half a dozen games in and help some of these young players. But for the life of me, when you're paying that much money for players that aren't performing, you're just going to be asking the question every year. The Saints will be asking the same question. Well, we had room in our salary cap, we went and got him. Instead of just going, no, let's work through these blokes. Do we really need a player that goes sideways? Yes. The last thing the Saints need is a player going sideways.
No, I agree.
Because their forward line is potentially going to be the difference between them making and not making it with King, and they've got to protect King. He's only a young player, skinny as. They've got to get another player up, and I just hope that Marshall gets back in that side. It'll look at Paddy Ryder and put Marshall in and around him, because what will happen, that'll help King become a very good footballer.
More from Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling in a moment. Richmond 2014 134, St Kilda 7-6 48. Let's take you into the winning Richmond rooms. Richmond by 86 points over St Kilda, ahead of an Anzac Eve clash against Melbourne at the MCG on Saturday night at the MCG. That should be an enormous clash, with Dustin Martin due to play his 250th game in that contest as well. He'll become the 17th Tiger to do it. His captain, perhaps his closest mate, joins us on Grandstand AFL. He's the Richmond captain, Trent Cotchin. Cotch, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Sum up that performance. I suppose you play in matches where you grind and you find a way over the top of an opposition, but today from halftime onwards you really own that contest. How do you reflect on that win?
Yeah, I think the thing that makes me most proud is just the execution of our system, really, yeah. And I feel as though there was such an even contribution across the ground. Obviously, a couple of our guys really stood up, but everyone effectively playing their role and fulfilling it obviously makes our system tick along nicely. And the Saints were impressive last week, particularly in the second half against the West Coast Eagles. So we knew we had to come to play, and really proud of the execution.
Is Marlon Pickett the new Sean Grigg?
It was bloody impressive, wasn't he? I think, I probably didn't expect him to compete as well in the air, but he certainly did that. But then his ground level stuff was just outstanding. I reckon we might see a little bit more of that.
And for Jack Riewoldt tonight, obviously a highly significant night for his family to kick 5, and more broadly to have 17 goals to this point in his season, when perhaps a few like Taylor Walker they did with him were suggesting that his career was coming to an end. How have you evaluated Jack's contribution so far this season?
Yeah, look, it's probably for me more than just the goals. That's obviously the chockies at the end of the day that are a nice reward for the effort that you put in. But, week to week, in at the footy club, the way that he shows up, he leads, and he's taking, younger guys who probably aren't quite as young as they have been in the past. But, his leadership over the last few years has been incredible in the way that he's shown care and he's grown. So, obviously it's always nice to see our forwards kick a bag and get a bit of reward for some of the effort down the field as well. But, I think, the chase down tackle where he kicks one is exactly what exemplifies what we expect of him.
Coach, as a team, you just had that look from the start of this game tonight that you were sharp, you were hungry, you were just going to be ruthless with the way you played. Can you talk us a little bit through the week, Damien Hardwick? Did he remind a few players about, hang on a sec, I know you've drifted maybe for a couple of weeks, let's just get back to what you do best, a bit more clarity in each of the roles of the players? Was there a little bit of a sharpening of each player's focus during the week?
Yeah, look, Lingy, as you would know, I think, we obviously got a bit of a lesson and we're really disappointed with our performance against the Swans a couple of weeks back now. But we're really proud of our effort last week over in Adelaide against a team who are really hard to beat at their home ground. Probably missed a few opportunities that let us down in the end, but we thought a lot of the things that we were working on coming out of the Sydney game came to fruition. But clearly in footy there's sometimes a little bit of a lag effect, and we always often talk about it, and it's just about building that evidence from the way that you train. We know that from a system point of view, ours works, and it's just the execution of it. So as I said at the start of this conversation, for me, the proudest thing is executing across 4 quarters, particularly, the game probably started to run away from the Saints in the earlier part of the 4th quarter, but we still, there was a 2 or 3 minute block just in front of the interchange when I was on the bench where we just kept cracking in, and that's what it means to be a Richmond man.
How do you find as a captain, and perhaps even just as you go throughout this year, knowing that the group isn't going to be, and it's almost impossible to be up for every single week of the year, given the heights that they've reached in the previous years, but just letting them have those lulls at times, but also getting them sharp in what their execution needs to be?
Yeah, I think it is. It's hard to, stay at the top of your game for long periods of time, but we're also aware of it and really accepting of it. But I think the beauty is that, we don't typically rely on, 5 or 6 players. It genuinely is a group contribution, and even when we have players go out with injury, the guys that come in, and, I sit there and watch Rossi tonight, who's our sub and has been for a couple of games this year. He's an amazing contributor and did so last week, but just is sitting there waiting for his opportunity. And I think that's what I love about our group, is that they're just willing to work and do what they need to do to help our team perform. And I think when there's that attitude and that willingness to continue to learn and grow, it's easier to stay up, I suppose.
17 marks inside forward 50, but also 18 tackles inside forward 50. It felt like that forward group had a real hunger about it tonight. Have they been doing anything specific? As you said, that lag effect, but have they been working on something over the last couple of weeks to get a result like tonight?
Nothing specific. I suppose, a lot of our forwards have plenty of speed and are very good in and around the contest, and maybe there was a little bit more permission to do so tonight. So, credit for the way that they showed up and brought that intent. 18 tackles is pretty impressive in your forward 50. I've just got to go in with the coach, guys. Sorry.
You're gone. You're done.
Good on you, Trent.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
When Dimmer beckons, you go. Trent Cotchin, the captain of the Richmond Football Club, after the Tigers won 2014, 134 to 7-6. 48. That does set up a mouth-watering clash at the MCG on Saturday night. The Anzac Eve clash between Richmond and Melbourne, adding the layer of Dustin Martin's 250th game, and he's got plenty of football ahead of him, it would appear. 34 possessions for Dustin Martin tonight, 8 inside 50s, 5 clearances and a goal. So I think those 2 games to start the season, Lingy, and that one booking in the couple of quieter games, he certainly looks like he's got a bit of hunger at the start of the year.
He was very good tonight and found a heap of the footy. But I'm going to just zag where you zigged there.
Ooh,
okay.
I
don't think it was his sharpest game.
Okay.
He just disposed a little bit off. Maybe just at times slipped over. It wasn't. If he's had 34 possessions and kicked a goal, I'd just be raving and going, Dustin Martin is God. Well, tonight he was just very good. And maybe I judge him harshly. That Carlton game, I walked away from that going, this bloke's just incredible. And I did last final series and all that. Just a very good, solid game from Dusty.
That's the comment of a man who played way too much football with Gary Ablett Jr. It's true to expect the champions to deliver and deliver and deliver.
I thought some of his
Very
other
fair.
teammates had more impact on tonight's game. And there was a group effort, but that's just the way I felt. Do you agree, Mick, or disagree?
No, I agree. I just thought that he burst a lot. You just noticed when he burst, that kick across the face, across his body. A couple of other times he just exploded, but it wasn't consistently persistent. So I lean towards what you're saying. But when you win by that much, it's sort of like Dusty tends to get into a bit. He goes into overdrive and then drops it back into second gear very quickly, just lets his teammates do it. We've seen him win games off his own boot in finals on the big stage when it's needed. Now, I don't say that happens all the time, and you can't just turn a tap on and off like that. But he is a player like that when you're totally on top, he tends to drift.
You could see him almost saying, "Oh, you don't need me tonight."
No.
So, and when I get it, I'll give it off to you guys.
Yeah.
You do it. You have fun.
Mick, are you of the belief he's the best Richmond player ever?
I wouldn't have. Well, look, to win an Anzac medal, you have to play for Collingwood or Richmond. To win a Norm Smith medal, you have to be in the grand final. So when you're playing grand finals and you can win 3 out of 3, you're clearly a very, very good player. But my judgment of players is immediately you always can only think of what you see. I'd like to say in 5 years, when he's retired, then you look back and you go, now, is he still that good in my mind over that journey as opposed to the immediate... Right now you've got to say, well, gee, there's not many better than him. But I would like to say that players that I've seen at Richmond, Kevin Bartlett was outstanding. Kevin Bartlett, don't forget, is a half-foot flanker. When he lost his rover role for one reason or another, kicked 7 or 8 in a grand final, and won the Norm Smith medal, I think, and perhaps played in 6 grand finals, 6 winning grand finals, maybe. I think certainly 5 or 6. Then there's Royce Hart. It's a bit like saying at Collingwood, I coached Scott Pendlebury, who everyone says is probably the best player, but the most explosive player I saw in that period was probably Dane Swan for 2 or 3 big years. So do you judge 2 or 3 big years? I had the misfortune or fortune to play on Matthews. And you talk about just nervous Nelly. You knew you were playing Hawthorn, and I knew I was back pocket. And I knew one thing about Lee Matthews. If he didn't get a goal on you early, he just spent the day on the ball. So you don't reckon that first 10 minutes you were just like you were absolutely that attentive to do what you could.